Hello! Wait, oh, my microphone is... Okay, never mind. My microphone's picking up. It's reversed on this side. I don't know why, but it is. But hi.
Hello.
We're here for not regularly scheduled D&D.
We did it.
Because
We did it.
Yes. Well, hello
people are
everyone.
missing.
Welcome to this stream that is not the D&D Elysia campaign for two reasons. One, you'll probably notice that. Well, actually, you probably won't notice because you're on a blank screen that says "Welcome to Elysia."
Yes.
I always forget about that.
That is a thing.
What you would notice is that Nick is not here with us. He is
Nick
not
and
able
Melissa's
to make it
special day is extended to today and today only.
Today. Hard today. And I got back from a vacation and didn't have time to prep as I wanted to, so we've decided just to take a break for the week. And we're gonna do a tier list rank like we did last time. If you got to see our adventure book rankings that we did, because Eric wasn't here and Nerdy joined a little late. So this time we're going to be doing two rankings for you. Number one is we're going to be ranking pizza chains that are specific to Michigan, because everyone here lives in Michigan except Nerdy. So we're going to describe the pizza chain to him, and he'll have to then determine where he feels it should go if he's never heard and or tried it. And then after that, we're going to jump into a D&D classes tier list and where we think all of the 5e classes stack up against each other. I know it might be easy to say for that. Well, they're all kind of S or A tier because, you know, you can do something with those classes. I think we're going to try to rank them against each other. So you can kind of say, like, based upon power and situations and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. It should be fun. So Brennan, why don't you pull up that sweet, sensual pizza tier list thing? Here, I'm gonna get some music going here. I'm gonna get some smooth,
I want pizza music.
Jazz.
Yeah, pizza music.
I want pizza music.
I believe Pizza Time is safe. The Spider-Man 2 pizza theme. I believe that's safe.
Oh, I was getting smooth jazz for this incredibly, important and thought-provoking conversation that we're about here.
We can also go find something too.
If you want to find something, you're more than welcome to. We really did not prepare for this, so
no, we never do with these ones. These are always last-second things that we just kind of decide to do, like an hour before.
All
right, well, it's the second time we've done it, so.
Yeah, I think last time we determined we were doing it like an hour before the stream. This time, at least, we were like 2 hours before the stream.
Ooh.
That's because at least this morning we had a bit of a idea of what was going on.
Heads up.
Yeah. As opposed to
the
like
rhythm
3 hours before.
dying.
Oh, is rhythm? Oh, actually, yeah, rhythm might be down right now.
September. No, it says we're okay. So 5 years and counting. This is from Bardo, our rhythm bot. It says we've received a notice from YouTube asking us to shut down.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Comply. They're shutting down September 15th, so Thursday. So what do we use for music, Brendan?
Me6.
Yeah, a bunch of the bots actually.
Bardo is shutting down?
Yes, a lot of the Discord bots have been getting hit by YouTube's system, and they've been getting like basically hit with cease and desists because they allow you to play things from YouTube without ads, and I believe it doesn't count to their view counts either, so they don't make any money from it, and they're very upset about it.
Yep.
Well, we will have to
hold a special... is the nemesis again.
Yeah, we'll have to hold a special ceremony for Bardo, our bard of 2+ years, I want to say.
So,
almost 2 years, so October will be
easily
our
like 5 years for me. Pretty much the entire time I've been in the Discord with my friend group, we've had Rhythm Bot.
Thanks for the memories, Rhythm Bot / Bardo the Handicap, as you are referred to in our Discord.
There are a bunch of them that are getting hit right now. I think Rhythm's the biggest one, which is why it's...
All right, well, Brendan, you and I will have to pick a new bot then and throw it in this channel. All right.
Find one that hasn't been hit
this
by
will be
YouTube.
Just like that, Bardo's replaced.
The final performance of Bardo for all of the masses. That's what this stream is called, Brendan, is Bardo's last performance. And
now we know at least how Ethan will quickly replace any of us if we just stop playing this. He's just going to be like, oh, it's sad. We've been playing for 2 years. All right, on to the next player.
Yeah, literally, Matt will be like, guys, I can't play more. I'll be like, Matt, it was so great that you could play with us. And I'm kick. All right, Andrew, why don't you come on in and play D&D with us for a little bit now? I got a list. I got a waiting list. No, I don't have a waiting list.
This is a popular campaign.
No, we're so
Mike,
popular.
Join us for 3 sessions.
Yes.
All right.
That'll happen.
Yes, this is very, very
All right,
stylish
let's
for
get
tonight's
this
session.
let's get this going.
Yeah, pizza tier list. Brendan, is it
Pizza
up?
time.
I don't have the thing up.
It's up now.
Yeah.
I gotta do some other
Alright.
sizing things here with this one.
He sounds so sad.
Yeah. So,
Oh my
throughout
God!
Throughout tonight, we will be referring to the pizza chain that looks like a board game that you play with little
Is that correct?
rectangles with dots upon them as DP Pizza, because
That's fine.
we are worried that one of us who is a former DP Pizza employee may get in trouble if we insult them too much. So going forward, we are referring to this as DP Pizza. It's you should know which one it is.
Definitely not the one that's moving around. That would be weird.
Yeah.
Definitely did not used to work there. That'd be weird if I did.
That image is only representative of DP Pizza, because if we were to show you the real image of DP Pizza, then Twitch would ban us.
Eric froze mid-laugh and it's killing me.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, his webcam is frozen, I know.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There you
So
go.
funny.
There he goes.
Ooh.
Oh,
There you
You're
go.
back.
go back.
Froze mid-laugh,
Go back.
which was
Bring us
fantastic.
I know I did. I was letting you enjoy it for a little while.
I loved it.
Alright.
All right, Buddy's Pizza, everyone. Someone describe Buddy's Pizza to nerdy.
I think I've only had
Please
buddies
explain it to
once.
me.
Yeah.
Same. I honestly can't remember what it is.
I
Buddy's
made Buddy's a few
Pizza is
times.
more like a bar. It's not really like a pizza joint like you'd think of. Like I'm gonna walk in, get a pizza, walk out. It's more of a like sit down restaurant slash like
yeah.
sports bar. There's pizza's like what their name is, but they're not known for it. They've got like wings, like ribs, whole bunch of different stuff. But I'd say Buddy's is more on the thin crust side
No,
of things.
see, I think Buddy's is deep dish. I always see deep dish pizzas coming out of Buddy's.
Really? Okay.
They do Detroit style pizza, which is a different type of pizza than what you get in Chicago or other places in America.
Yeah, which definitely are not
Actually,
all just big deep dish pizzas.
Yeah.
I will say
So-
they do allow for like odder toppings because like when I was in college, I used to go to the Happy's Pizza all the time, and I could get steak and mushrooms on my pizza, which I thought was different because typically like most places like they
We're
give
talking
you
about
your
Buddy's, not
typical
Happy's.
options. Huh? Oh, I said
You
Buddy's.
said Happy
I'm sorry.
Pizza.
You said
You're on
Happy's.
Buddy's.
I'm jumping around. I'm jumping
They're
around.
jumping around.
Yeah,
Happy's will
that's
come up. Yes,
I was,
so
yeah, I
everyone's
was
aware
thinking,
this is pizza chains from Michigan. So if you don't live in Michigan and you don't know what half of these are, I'm sorry. You'll just have to take our word for it. And then if you ever visit, you know which ones to visit and which ones to avoid.
So actually, Ethan, you can disregard everything I said because I thought we were starting with Happy's. I got confused. Buddy's is definitely deep dish.
Yeah, Buddy's is definitely deep dish. It is like a rest, but you are right. It is like a restaurant. They have other things besides pizza there. I'll be honest. I think Buddy's is massively overrated. I think their pizzas are too greasy.
Very sauce
service-
heavy. Very, very sauce heavy.
And I like a sauce heavy pizza. Like you'll probably see on here. There's this Mr. Jim's Pizza that no one knows what it is. They're in Texas. They had a little quote when I looked them up that says it's all in the crust. That's a lie. It's all in the sauce when it comes to pizza.
I'm gonna disagree with
But-
you there, Ethan. But
But anyways, I don't particularly care for Buddy's sauce. I think their pizzas are too greasy. They're kind of expensive. I'd put Buddy's in the category. Like when people are like, let's go to Buddy's Pizza, I'm like, let's just get Little Caesars. Like I'd rather spend $5 than like $25 and get a
Yeah.
pizza that is kind of at the same quality.
as my official rating before the show started, that I said that if the choice was between Buddy's or not getting pizza, I'd still probably get Buddy's.
I would still probably get Buddy's. I do agree with that, which is why I wouldn't put it in the not good category, but it's definitely a for me.
Okay.
Brendan, Matt, where do you guys fall in this ranking?
I
I've
don't
never
remember
had
what it tastes like.
buddies. I've never had buddies.
I don't think I have either, actually.
I have also
where do you
never
fall?
had buddies. But I'm judging these things solely by their design and by their name and your guys' expression of them. And for buddies, their logo is lame.
It is pretty lame.
I
Yeah.
am putting
It's
them
very
in
simple.
the not good category. I will not be choosing the not eaten category ever because that's a given. So sorry, no outs, no cop outs for you guys. It's gonna be either good or not good based off of the description of your customers and your logo.
What about True?
Yeah, there's also
Bre-
True, which is
Brendan changed
if
all
it
the
is-
I did
rankings.
change all of them, but
Oh,
Oh, what do they
If it is-
say?
I just
now?
made
I
it
don't have
S,
the
A,
screen
B,
up.
C, and not eaten. But it was originally True
Oh,
and
okay.
S tier, good, not good, and
It still
Still not
says
eaten.
it still says true on mine.
well, yeah.
I would
It's
still put
client side.
I would still put Buddy's Pizza in the category. That's my ranking of Buddies.
Yeah.
I pulled
I'm
it up
gonna put
again
it
and reset it.
I
into-
think it's a,
C.
I think that's a C rating. Yeah, C.
That's-
Yeah, it's the
it's-
C. That's
It's
C.
B.
Well,
B.
yeah,
I put it in
think
the
B
Oh,
should
do you
be
have
like,
S A B
S, A, B,
C?
C, not
Yeah.
eaten. Yeah. B
Oh,
is A.
do A B C D because I don't like S.
We've really
That's in the
refined
top
this show,
tier.
Too much
guys.
positive. There's too much positive.
Really refined this show just for
I'm
you
sorry,
guys.
there's a couple pizza places in here, and if you watch the last one, there's one in specific that I refuse to put in a B tier because it's the last tier on here. There needs to be a triple F tier for that one specific.
Okay, we'll
But
just add a row below.
there we go. Yes.
I'll just
Just
prep
make
it.
it the just put Papa John's pizza. I make a Papa John's pizza roll.
We'll just
No spoilers.
the big papa.
DP can go in there too.
Honestly though, why?
Don't,
Alright.
don't spoil it, Ethan.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling it. I'm trying not to. So is Buddies and Ant? Is that where we've decided this?
yeah, yes, Buddies is middle of the road B tier.
B tier. All right.
B for
Buscemi's.
Buddy.
I don't think I've ever had a Buscemi's pizza.
Okay,
before.
So
I have
Buscemi's.
it
Buscemi
there.
is like gas station pizza.
I have driven
It's-
past
yeah.
it
It
many
reminds
times.
me. It reminds me of like high school because it was like, you know, you only had a couple of bucks. You couldn't afford a whole pizza. And Buscemi's is the place you go if you want a giant slice of pizza. It was literally like this big. It was Detroit style, and you could go in, grab it, and walk out in like 30 seconds.
And it's
Honestly,
sitting underneath the hot
surprised-
lights.
For it being
Ever.
like sitting out for like an hour or two, probably at some, it wasn't that bad. There was no crust.
Don't
Okay.
mistake me saying it's gas station pizza as that being like a total knockoff. It's just to kind of give you a frame of reference. It's like a Buscemi's is like a
Oh.
convenience store. You can get everything from like Walt's crawlers
You
to
get
go fishing
subs
with.
there.
These subs there. They've got all sorts of food,
I mean,
all
you can
sorts
get
of
subs
like
at other
snacks and
places
stuff.
too
Convenience
now.
store, but they do have like the pizza under the hot plates with like the crazy amount of grease and stuff. But if that's what you're looking for, and like you're really hungry, yeah, I'd probably put Buscemi's right at good.
So Matt, it's a go in and get a pizza quickly. If you had to rank them though, would you say Buscemi's is better or Little Caesars is better for the budget conscious pizza person? Like if you had a Little Caesars and a Buscemi's literally next to each other competing for your business, where would you go?
I'd probably honestly go to Little Caesars because Buscemi's it's got all the aspects of Detroit style that makes it really good with like the nice like deep dish crust and everything, but because it sat under a hot lamp for so long, it's not crunchy.
It's super
It
dry.
lost most of its crunch, and I'm just like, eh.
And,
So
and
I'd
if you're
go
gonna compare it to Little Caesars, you can buy the garlic butter dipping sauce, and I would literally shower in that sauce. So
Yeah, I get a straw whenever I get those cups of garlic butter.
Oh
so.
my god.
So are we putting it in the B category?
yeah,
I gotta
guess
bring
it's
up
more
I think-
Brendan's thing
I'm
here
gonna
because
put it above buddies.
That's
I would
fair.
put it
think
above
that-
Buddies, ironically,
Yeah.
as bad as that is.
Little
Ugh.
Caesars.
Little Sleazers.
I'm a preemptively
Oh,
just
man.
put it up there, but
No, Nerdy, have you had Little Caesars before? Because you obviously recognize it. If you
Yes.
had Little Caesars before.
I have.
Okay, you can
I've
talk
had.
about this.
We have Little Caesars here. Yes.
Okay.
So we have Little Caesars here. Hold on, I'm trying to find your guys' little thing because I'm trying to make the tier list and it keeps coming up as a different thing. Doesn't matter. I don't care enough.
Understandable.
The one thing I will say, I'm putting Buscemi's in the not good category of whatever that is.
understandable.
Mostly because in their thing, first of all, busy. Too busy. I don't know what's going on here. And there's a sandwich with a hat on it. And you know what? You know what we're not talking about right now? Sandwiches. And thus, you get a failing grade for not displaying the one thing you're supposed to do. Like, I'm not gonna, like, you don't have to have a giant pizza on the thing. Pizza Hut is a hat. It's a hut for some whatever reason. But at least it's the thing that they're talking about. This is a sandwich that makes no sense. You get a failing grade. Now,
Failing
Little
pizza
Caesars,
grade.
as far as yes, as far
Why did you
It's
move it already?
only
Brendan,
good-
to A.
Because Little Caesars is, if there's one thing it is, it's consistent. We can move it around after.
Little Little Caesars is only good if you get it right after they
See,
make it.
my argument
There's
is
truth to that.
if I want pizza, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go get Little Caesars. But if I want Little Caesars, I'm gonna go get Little Caesars. It's like two different cravings
It
entirely.
I
is-
think it's
I've
Little Caesars.
never
Little Caesars
craved
is
Little
great
Caesars.
cold too. Like if you eat it
Yeah, it
breakfast
is.
pizza, I think of
It
Little
is.
Caesars pizza.
Little
That's like
Caesars
my-
Oh,
to
yeah.
me
I
is the
want
McDonald's
better
of
for
pizza.
yourselves.
Yeah,
You've
it's a
all
great,
sucks,
that is a
taken
great
and
care
it's
of
analogy.
terrible.
right
The
now.
other thing,
But when
the
you
other thing I'll
want
say
it, you
with Little
want it, and it's
Caesars,
always
too,
consistent.
The other thing with Little Caesars too, because they do their $5 hot and ready, so you can get like their $6 extras. They got a couple different price tiered things you get. If you got like 15 people over for a party and everyone's hungry, you can get like 5
20 Little
pizzas for
Caesars.
25
Yeah.
bucks, 20 bucks, and
Nah,
pizza. And if you
Love
were to
your
try to do
friends
that
more.
anywhere else, you will be spending upwards of 40 or 50 bucks.
Yes.
I agree. I
Treat your
think
friends
my
like they
thing is
matter.
I think Little Caesars likes to go also, which always is near and dear to my heart, is they embrace America and the idea that like nothing can't be food, and they make the weirdest shit out of pizza. Like their most recent one, like the calzone pizza cross. Oh, it's
Yeah.
a hot and ready item as well.
Yeah.
I just had it recently. Delicious.
I'm not
Also,
actually
Really,
having it.
really
I'll try it, though.
commend them.
I gotta say, I love
Ridiculous,
Little
though.
Caesars thin crust pizza. We tried it, and I was shocked at how good their thin crust pizza is. Because you know what? Little Caesars actually has a decent tasting sauce.
Okay,
That's
here
what
we
I was
go.
gonna say. It's got good
This is-
zest.
Got the
This
good
is
sauce.
what we're doing. As a
Next in
person
a
who
fight.
is
Nerdy's
from
gonna fight.
New, okay, I have two things.
Oh,
One, originally from New York. All my family's from the East Coast. Talking about pizza, all this has an asterisk on it, being that there's only one good place that you can get a slice, and it has nowhere in the Midwest. So that's the first part. Secondly, y'all need to love your friends more. Y'all need to care about yourselves more. You're talking about Little
See,
Caesars.
Somebody
like
gets
it
me
is
Little
worth-
Caesars,
Oh,
I'm happy about
That's
it.
Yeah.
right.
Oh.
That's mad.
Because
Yeah.
I've gone to places where they get
Oh, yeah.
some pizza
Mhm.
from like a weird like mom and pop pizza shop where they're just like, hey, let's make pizza on the side, and I'm upset about it. I'm like, why didn't you save
Well, no,
50% of your money and
go
go
to
get a little
go
hot
to
and ready?
Pat's. You can go to Papa
Especially if you're
Murphy's
drunk.
and get some.
I can feel
better
great about
pizza.
myself and pop a $5 bill out of my pocket and say, "Hey, I just covered the whole pizza."
Boom.
I love it.
And the flavor's good.
once I
It's
gra-
just good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And it's good cold. You don't
Nope.
have to
Yeah,
heat it up.
that's what I
It's
said. Thank you.
amazing
Great.
cold.
If I think of breakfast pizza,
Yeah.
I
Totally
think of
cold.
Little Caesar. I think
Yeah.
of Little Caesars.
Okay.
If I think of breakfast pizza.
When you were in college and you woke up at like 10
Mhm.
p.m. because you've been playing video
no.
games all night and you're like, man, I want something to eat, but I don't want lunch yet. You go to your fridge and there's the pizza that you had last night.
Not even
Let me-
in the fridge, Ethan. Not even
It's
on the
just
counter, under
on
the
the counter.
couch. Just room temperature, good to go.
Dude, I
I'm
can't
like,
even
I at
relate.
least like it fridge.
I was gonna
Flies,
say that myself,
flies
but
don't
I-
even want it because it's so artificial. Like nothing touches
I
it. It
can't.
just stays there. It's perfect.
Let's our new sponsor is whoever's gonna help my friends here find a different, better way of life. I don't know what to
See,
do.
See, Little Caesars isn't my favorite pizza. Don't misconstrue.
Right.
I just think it's
That-
good, and it gets too much hate.
You
It gets
don't
way
even
too much
have
hate.
to
It's
put
true.
it in the
People
fridge.
see it's
That's
$5
all I need
and
to
they're
know.
like, they're $5 garbage pizza. I'm sorry for five. It's the best $5 pizza around. You go to any
Absolutely.
other place that offers a $5 pizza.
$5
At least here in
pizza. You guys
Michigan-
don't have five. Yeah,
Ah.
you don't have $5 pizza. There's a place in Minnesota called $5. It's called $5 pizza, and that's where you go. You don't go to Little Caesars. It's the same price, but it's not hot and ready. You have to call and order it. It's not that it's sitting in a warmer. They will make you a pizza fresh every time, and it is better every
We're in
single time.
Michigan, and
And-
that's what we're
Yeah, I
rating
know.
here.
And I can't. I feel for you all, and I feel like someone needs to. We need a cleric of pizza to come bring the good news to Michigan. Because
If this video
guess
makes
what?
$100,
Pizza God
Dirty will
has
send a
risen.
slice of $5 pizza to everyone in the stream so we can
Oh,
try it and determine if he is correct or
I
not.
will sponsor a $5 pizza in Michigan. I will personally put my own money to build one over there,
All right,
so you
I
guys
love
can
it.
be freed.
All right, to
Pizza
rank it,
Moses needs to come and
I
set
hate
you
to
all
say it.
free.
Good.
to rank it, I almost want to put Little Caesars in S tier because it's such a
No.
versatile pizza.
love
It's
the
a
I will-
I love you,
versatile
Ethan.
friggin'
I love
I
you.
will
pizza.
quit
I
this,
love you,
and I
Ethan.
won't be able.
I love you.
I won't be able to hang out with you guys.
I love you, Ethan.
even though I very much enjoy Little Caesars, I would
Do
not
it.
put
I
it
just
in
love
S.
the
There is-
chaos that just runs through your veins, Ethan.
There
I
is
love it.
better
And
pizza
you're-
out there than Little
God.
Caesars. It's just Little
There-
Caesars
there
is
is, but I'm
always
not
consistent.
saying-
But he's right.
I'm not
That's the
saying
thing. It's not the only S tier. He's saying,
Yeah.
just like Matt Swift
It's
described it, when you're in the mood for pizza, you don't get Little Caesars.
Yeah.
The only thing
That's enough.
that hits.
That's the sentence.
The
When you're
internet
in the
has
mood for
decided
pizza,
you're not
you
allowed to
don't
speak
get Little
anymore.
Caesars. That's all you
Mm.
need to know.
The entire interwebs
Oh.
has said no.
Oh, this
You're
is
not allowed to finish
this
your
is
statement.
more than anything we're talking about.
Oh,
This is more than
oh,
anything. We're not even
I-
going to get to the other thing we're doing.
Yeah, we're not even gonna get to the
Honestly,
classes.
I
Classes
almost
is
wanna-
important.
I almost want to keep it at like it's either got to be the lowest of the S tier or the highest of the A
Highest,
tier.
I agree with that. I'm cool keeping it in A. If we want to
Okay.
keep it in A,
Okay.
we can always reassess.
Just so nerdy
later.
won't have an aneurysm.
No.
I'm okay with that. It can't go below A though because it is
No.
legit
Nope.
decent
You have
pizza.
everyone else in this stream is agreeing, so it can't go below A.
Yes.
No. All right,
I'm going to
because
just sit here, hang out.
because Brendan already put it in the thing in the worst. Papa John's, we're just gonna do right now. And
Oh,
I'm just gonna make this real quick.
Yeah.
Papa John's
I've had
is like
Papa
taking
John's.
a pizza slice, wiping your butt with it, and then having someone eat it. That's how I feel about Papa
Mm.
John's.
I don't eat pizzas made by racists. That's what I'll say.
That's
Papa
all you
John's.
really need to say.
Yeah, Papa
The
John's.
the only thing you need to know about Papa John's is that after the owner was disgraced because he needed to be disgraced, there was a video interview with him where he probably sweat more water than the human body can hold, and it was hysterical to watch him talk about his life is ruined. And I'm like, and that's what needs to happen to every racist. Just that's my personal belief, but
I'm into this
Just-
as well as a team.
Just describing the pizza too, it's like getting a Little Caesars hot and ready that's $25. That's how I feel about it, and it's not even
somehow
good hot and ready.
tastes- it
Yeah,
tastes
but it's
Yeah,
worse.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the hot and ready that Nerdy described, the one that's been under the hot lamp for 4 hours, and they're like, I guess here's a
Oh,
pizza.
4
for you."
hours?
you
No,
pay, and you have,
no.
you have to sit there and wait.
Yeah,
and
you
get
made
paid.
this-
That's the
Fresh
hot and
Papa
ready they
John's.
made at the beginning of their shift, and it's 2 p.m. and they still haven't sold
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
it is
always
bad.
confused on how that, like, because I remember I used to eat a lot of We used to have Papa John's, like, because there was one near my house, right? And I remember liking it, and then I remember being like, "But this is wrong because I've had pizza before, and this is not what this is. It always
Oh,
is either
pizza.
undercooked or just dry.
Yeah,
Like,
Dry
those are the
pizza,
only-
God, dry
everyone
pizza's
I've had was dry.
terrible.
It's either
like
undercooked, where it's like blah, 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 or it's dry.
yeah, their oven is like either way too hot or it takes too long to go through it or something. I remember it was me, Brendan, and Brendan's sister, my wife. We decided to get pizza one night, and we were by a Papa John's, and I'm like, I've never had Papa John's before, and I think we spent like $30 to get like one pizza and breadsticks and like a 2-liter. It was ridiculous. And I'm like, this better be the best damn pizza. Like, we were making jokes about it on the way home. Like, this better be the best pizza. Get home, open it up. Literally looks like the sun just like hung out in this pizza box for the last 4 hours. That's how dry it was. Just stunned pizza. I pull up a slice. The cheese is cracking and crinkling because it's just baked onto it, like just ass baked onto this pizza. And I just take it and I take a bite of it, and it's like eating
ash.
just
It's like
it's
ashy
cardboard.
Bread. It's terrible.
yeah, cardboard, and it has no sauce on it. It's just like cardboard and cheese. Like, I couldn't taste any sauce on it. Papa John's, you are maybe the worst on this list, and that is why you
That's
are
cool.
in the worst category.
Yeah, that's D.
Can we all agree
Yeah.
Papa John's is
That's
the
F
worst?
tier.
Oh,
In the
Yeah,
worst.
that's worse. Yeah.
terrible.
Yep.
Put it down.
All right.
Put it down.
Unanimous.
California Pizza Kitchen. I've
Garbage.
been
I
here
will
a few
start off-
times.
I will start off by saying if you'd like to spend $70 on pizza for the night, California Pizza Kitchen is right where you
Yep.
need to be.
Yep.
They
No, I
are
don't think I've ever
out-
had
they-
California pizza.
They're a
before.
sit-down restaurant. They were a full-on like fine dining restaurant, and they are like, and no joke, it is like $20 plus for a pizza that's going to
It's
feed one person.
Ridiculous.
It is.
Very expensive.
It's asinine. All their pizzas are not like, there's not even a traditional, like, I don't mean to cut you guys off, there's not even a traditional cheese and pepperoni pizza. It's got like
No.
broccoli and like garlic and like weird like cauliflower and
Like, here's
honeycomb
it's like,
and
Here's my garlic and fetus pizza. Enjoy it.
Yeah, here's kale and pineapple. Like,
Ugh.
Yeah.
God, it's just terrible. I hate it.
It's-
Here's a lettuce pizza.
Yeah.
How did you even cook
and
that?
even like for strange pizzas, like a barbecue chicken pizza or like an Alfredo pizza, they don't even have those, I think. Or if they do, it not at the location by us. It's like broccoli and
Mhm.
olive pizza.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember going there, and I went there on a date in high school. It was the only time I went to that California Peach Kitchen. And I was like, I'll never go back. But I was sitting there, and we were looking at the menu, and I'm like, okay, pizza's like awesome. We can go to this. It's a restaurant for pizza. We can sit down, talk, and have our pizza. And we're looking at the menu, like, what the hell do we order? I even asked the waitress. I'm like, I have no idea what to order here. I was kind of going for like the whole. I just want a little bit of a classic pizza in a decent setting. Like, what do I do? And we ended up eating this like white sauce something or other pizza that had like 20 cheeses on it and a whole bunch of vegetables and no sauce, and it was weird. It was weird, and it was expensive.
Yeah.
And when you're in high school, you're like, oh, I could have went to Buscemi's.
Yeah, well, it's like, oh, I guess I just threw down $35
We
for
could've
my
just
large pizza.
gone to
I-
Little
I am
Caesars and just
foodie.
hung out at my
Like,
house.
I have if I have food, I got no problem dropping $100 on a dinner. Honestly, I don't. Like, I love food, but pizza should never, like, for two
No.
people to eat, you shouldn't be spending more than $50 at a pizza joint. Like, there's just no reason.
And from where kind of generally we all are, there is another pizza sit-down restaurant called Boston's, which is actually pretty good and
Yep.
reasonably priced, and is a sit-down restaurant where you get pizza. And I think Boston's is better than even Buddy's.
Much higher.
much better.
Boston's is
And
great.
and it's like half the price. It's like, oh, I can go and get a large pizza for $16. That's gonna feed a table of 4. Where at California Pizza Kitchen, I have to get the armpit hair and jizz pizza that's gonna feed 2 of us for, for $38.
Yikes.
No.
Oof.
All right, well, with that,
I think we're moving on to Cottage Inn.
I'm just gonna put
well,
that in
California Pizza Kitchen, it's not the worst, so it has to be C tier.
there.
C tier. I'd say I haven't tried all of their pizzas because I've been there like twice in my whole life, and maybe one of their oddball pizzas is phenomenal, but I don't care to find out. So C tier.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
put
Everyone's
Papa
it- I put it in the bottom, honestly, just because I will never go back. So
How do you
like,
feel,
that's-
nerdy?
About what? Which one?
California Pizza.
California
Kitchen.
California
Pizza
Pizza
Kitchen.
Kitchen.
Oh, I've tried to look up their menu twice right now while we were talking, and because I live in Minnesota, they will not let me see what they make.
Oh, that's dumb.
So I am going to say that they are
I
the
do
worst.
know that they have frozen options that you can buy as well in stores, but I have not tried any of them.
Oh,
either.
I did want to bring this up about Little Caesars, and I forgot to it. Does anyone remember selling Little Caesars pizza kits in high school, or
Yeah,
not
those
high
are
school,
great.
like middle school, and elementary school?
Those are
Those things
actually
are
good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
They are.
fantastic.
Like, actually
Yeah.
good.
All right, so are we throwing? Where are we throwing California? I'm
I'd say
fine with
California
C.
Pizza Kitchen's the bottom. But,
If it's at the bottom,
But at
then it's
worst-
above Papa John's.
Yeah, it's above Papa
okay,
John's.
okay.
But
No,
not
then,
in
yeah,
the
see.
worst tier because it's not the worst.
I
Yeah, I
put
wouldn't
it at
say-
the same
I'd say
tier
it
as
is
Papa
worse.
John's
What?
only because I'd never go
Because you
back.
can't do it.
That's
You
true.
can't do it.
Alright.
Like, first of all, it's like if you're talking about pizza, and we're talking about pizza that we could like get at any time, I wouldn't even get that just by how you described
Right.
it. Even if I had the money, I would just be like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend it on that. Like,
Yeah.
I would not.
That's
spend
that's
my
the
pizza
question.
money
That's my
on
question. Is like if I always evaluate. Okay, if the choice is between this and not getting pizza, I would choose not getting pizza. I will not go back to California Pizza Kitchen. I won't.
That. Yeah. So
I'm fine
and
with the worst
also,
as long as it's above Papa
It
John's.
is.
Yeah.
yes,
Absolutely.
they're all the worst. They're just worse for different reasons. However, their logo is, I mean, like it
It's
looks
quite
like
nice,
a palm
actually.
tree that they have in California. So at the least, they have their theme correct.
They
I'm
spend
looking
all
at
the
you.
money on the
Jeff.
pizzas for branding.
Does that bump it up to C?
I'm
for you, Matt?
looking at no. I'm just saying. I'm looking at you, Buscemi. I'm telling you, get your
Do your
freaking
job.
game settled.
All right, moving on to Cottage Inn Pizza. There's a Cottage Inn not too far from here. I've had Cottage Inn a few times. Cottage Inn Pizza is, in my opinion, a very meh pizza. Almost every time we go, they mess up our order or they cut it really weird, so that kind of might cloud my judgment a little bit. But if I'm ordering pizza and it's not like a Little Caesar where I can walk in, pick it up, walk out, and it's not a sit-down restaurant, and it's not Papa John's, because I guess this would kind of be a similar pizza joint to Papa John's,
Yeah.
where you have to call or order online or go in and wait 20 minutes to get your pizza. It's serviceable. if I don't want to get a $5 hot and ready, and a Cottage Inn is there, I would go to a Cottage Inn. Honestly, I'd probably get the $5 hot and ready over the Cottage Inn.
Yeah.
But if I want something with more
A
toppings, like a
little bit
supreme
more
pizza,
gourmet pizza.
a little more
bit more
gourmet, I would get a Cottage Inn pizza. It is a very serviceable, decent pizza.
Cottage Inn has a little special place in my heart because I'm a dough guy, and Cottage Inn pizza is really doughy. Like their
Very
crust
It
doughy.
is very
has-
doughy.
It's very
Yeah.
doughy, and I
My-
love me some bread. So I rank Cottage Inn a little higher than you do, but only because I really love the
I'd say
crust.
it's high B. I think it's top of the B right now, but
Yeah,
that's me.
my only gripe with Cottage Inn, because I agree, it definitely hits the spot for sure, and I really like the doughiness. That is a very good point, and a great way to describe it. My only gripe is sometimes when you go to Cottage Inn, the pizza's this big and your toppings cover this amount. There's like 50%
It's very
crust
fair.
per slice. And
They
it's
do
hit or
very
miss,
weird-
but
We've done things with their toppings too, where like Sam doesn't like the veggies, so I will get them on half the pizza. Like I like black olives on my pizza. I love black olives on my pizza. Crucify me. So I'll do
No,
half black olives.
are great.
Oh, they're so good. Half black olives, half like meat explosion diarrhea. And literally it's just all mixed up anyways. It's like
Yep.
they don't even read it. It's like, okay, you just defeated the purpose of me doing half and half on this pizza. Now my wife won't eat it because there's friggin' olives on this thing. So it's a high B for me. I can have it, but I actually would probably get I would actually call an order and get Little Caesars, which I have done before. And they're actually called to order Little Caesars pizza is pretty good. Then get Cottage, personally.
I agree.
I've never had
I'd
Cottage
be-
Inn, so
Crispelli's. I haven't had
All right.
Crispelli's.
I
So
haven't had it.
Crispelli's, I'll put it in the same kind of realm as just a little under California Pizza Kitchen because again, it kind of sets itself up as like a Italian pizza restaurant. Is very higher end, a little bit more pricier, so it'd be more pricey than like Cottage Inn or Jets or somewhere similar. But their pizza is actually really good. It's a thin crust, crispy pizza, but it's like out in the Troy area. I enjoy Crispelli's.
I
I
haven't
don't think
had
I've
it.
ever had it.
I've never had it.
Oh wow.
That's the Crispelli's is Eric. So Eric, where would you put it list wise?
So I'd probably put it in. What is B considered?
Yeah.
B's meh.
Yeah,
I guess C would really be meh, but B's like
Okay.
it's all right.
Yeah, I guess I'll put it in B, high B.
Oh, under or over Cottage Inn?
Yeah, I'll say above or below.
Under. I put under only because it's a little expensive.
Price is too much.
Expensive. So under Cottage Inn for B.
Probably higher than Buscemi's.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
between
I'm
Cottage
cool
and
with that.
Buscemi's.
I do love that Buscemi's is beating Buddy's Pizza. That's really humorous in my opinion.
Everybody
Well,
raves
the
about
thing is,
Buddy's
like,
Pizza. It's overrated.
You got to set your
People-
expectations. Like if that's the thing is like if McDonald's sold itself as a fine dining restaurant, McDonald's
you'd
would be
hate it.
half.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah.
But like Buscemi's doesn't try. Like it even says it on the sign, party shop. Like it
Yeah.
knows what it is.
It's true. Yeah, Buddy's Pizza is super overrated. Everyone raves about it. And like I remember getting it the first time, I was just like, it's pizza. Like, what's so
'Cause
special about
well, with Buddies, they're the ones who brand themselves as like the original Detroit pizza,
Yeah.
which is where instead of taking the sauce and like spreading it over the dough, they just like glop. It's like dollops
Yeah.
of sauce on top of the cheese. And I'm just like, this is nothing like new or original.
It-
I'm not.
It sucks that they're the original Detroit style pizza, yet they're the worst at Detroit style pizza.
Yeah.
Hey,
They might be the
just 'cause
original,
you're the
but everyone
first
else
doesn't
has
mean you're the
perfected their
best.
recipe.
Yes, I love the next one.
DP Pizza, everyone.
DP.
It's
How do we all
I'm
feel about
setting
the
it there.
DP?
for right now, but I have a feeling we're gonna have
Alright.
a lot of discussion
This
on
is-
this one.
This is what I'm going to say about DP pizza, because I have had DP pizza. If you serve this to anyone you care about, you are a sociopath.
Yes.
And that is all I will have to say about that.
My opinion of DP Pizza is when The Onion runs an article a few years ago that says DP Pizza tests putting trash on pizza to determine how much or what type of toppings Americans will eat. You know exactly what type of restaurant DP Pizza is.
It is.
There's been so many times
Awesome.
on our honeymoon, we got DP Pizza delivered to our hotel room. They had a DP ordering kiosk in their hotel, and we're like, let's try it. I haven't had DP Pizza in forever. Ordered it, ass. Got DP Pizza delivered one time because we were like, it's been years since we've had DP Pizza. Let's try it. Ass. And then there's other times I'm sitting around, I'm like, man, I should really try DP pizza again. And my wife looks at me and goes, we're not trying DP pizza anymore. And I'm like, there'll be no DP in this household.
So the moral of
You
the
say
story
that.
is Ethan and Sam
You say
have
that.
tried DP many times, and it
And
only ever
hated it.
resulted. It
Yeah.
only
It only
ever resulted
resulted in
ass.
issues.
In ass.
It's
Specifically. Yeah. You know, sometimes you try for DP and there's only one thing that comes out of it.
Yeah.
So,
but no,
yeah.
I will agree. As my famous judging criteria is, if the choice is I get DP or I don't eat pizza, I'm not eating pizza. Sorry, just not happening.
So I would put it a tier. I'd put it in C tier because it's not
not the worst. I will give it that. It's not the worst, but man, does it suck.
It's better than Papa John's and California
Yes.
Pizza Kitchen, in my opinion. Like leaps and
The
bounds.
only-
Speaks to how
It
terrible-
is better than
Only
Papa
unit
John's.
The
I
only
put it
thing
between
DP
California
pizza,
and Papa.
Wow.
the only thing DP Pizza has going for it is the fact that it was not owned and operated by a racist. That's literally its only like.
Well, it's the
Like-
stoner's choice for pizza because they're open till like 2 in the morning.
If you
But
buy DP, I almost said it. If you buy DP for your friend who is a member of the minority community,
Mhm.
you are racist. I don't know who you are.
dang,
I don't know. I don't know. There is no criteria based off. This is my personal opinion.
It's awesome.
This is not critically
awesome.
assessed by anyone who knows more about this stuff than me. All I'm saying is that if my white friend gave me a hot slice of DP, I would be like, "Why do you want me back on the plantation?" Is what I would say to them. Is what I would say to their face.
it is.
Lord. Whew.
It is.
See,
so
the worst
bad.
part
Words
is
have been fired.
the worst part is, Matt Allen. The last time I had DP, a buddy from work bought it for me. His name's Josh, and he's black, and I don't know what to think about it at this point.
It's
Yo,
okay.
Because some
It'll be
people
like that.
sometimes we just gotta work with what we got. They gave us hog's feet and chicken lips, and we made something out of it. Some people it's just what it is. All right, it doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean it's right. It just means it's what it is. DP pizza is an affront against God and all of her glory, and I
Yep.
swear to the ones above. If I do one thing in this life, it's gonna make sure that people don't eat that.
All right, so we're putting
The
an
end.
S tier, right, guys?
Sure, yeah, of course.
It's
Their,
on
their
time.
their green garlic flakes on the crust really concerned me. The fact that they believe garlic to be green flakes.
It
that
is
they put on their
oregano,
crust.
not garlic.
Well,
I can
it was
tell
a
you
garlic-
that,
it was
it's
a garlic
oregano.
pizza I ordered. It was a garlic pizza I ordered. It tasted like garlic, but it tasted like the old man in the alley decided that he was going to make his own version of garlic on the cheap and put it on my pizza. That's what it
Yeah,
tastes like.
okay.
So
Nice.
The individual
All right.
components of pizza are not very good.
I think DP is too high. I think it needs to drop down with Cali and Papa John's. And I think Nerdy provided the most excellent reason for that. So that's my opinion.
Yep, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
If you buy DP for your friends, you're racist.
Yup.
You are. And it's not something that I can help you with.
your friend,
It's
your
something that
friend,
you need
your
to
friend should
figure
look
out.
at you in the eye and ask you,
Not
why do you want me
Being
back on the
ignorant
plantation?
and buy a different pizza chain.
Buy a different, and it's not like it has nothing to do with them as a company. I've never heard anything like that. All I'm saying is that if you're giving people that stuff to eat, you can't be good. You can't be a good person. So I don't know what they're doing over there.
We have way
Fair.
more in the worst than I expected. I love this. All right, moving on to Green Lantern Pizza then. I have had Green Lantern Pizza
Lantern's great.
before.
Coolest name,
Yeah.
S tier. I don't know what else
Yeah,
is going
honestly,
on, but
Green
that's all I
Lantern
have.
Pizza is S tier in
Yes,
my
yep.
opinion.
Yep,
My-
it's fantastic.
Father and mother-in-law get Green Lantern Pizza. It's got a great sauce. It's got a good amount of cheese on it. It's got a good
Pricey.
amount of toppings. Their pepperonis are great. Their vegetables are fresh. Their bread is good. Green Lantern S tier, hands down.
It's an expensive pizza, but it is totally worth it.
It's
I've
worth
never
it.
bought Green Lantern and gone, man, that was too much money.
I
for the
think a
pizza."
lot of people who live in Michigan like look at Jets as being a really like S tier pizza.
I would agree
And
with that.
Brendan, your
Mhm.
family used to be a Jets family.
I still am
and
a
that is
very
pizza.
Jets person. I prefer Jets over Green Lantern, but
Do you?
Same.
But they
that's a
swapped the Green
personal thing
Lantern.
though, because for whatever
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about Green Lantern, I always feel terrible after I eat Green Lantern. It's great
Oh, like,
pizza,
really sick?
but it makes me feel like I want to throw up,
It's a very heavy pizza.
and I don't know why. I don't know what it is about it. I just want to throw up after I eat it, even though it's good.
Again, I can't really
Just makes
compare
me sick.
because Jets and Green Lantern are trying to do different things. Like Jets is like more in the
Yeah.
style of Little Caesars, where you run in, you get it, and you go. Green Lantern is a sit down restaurant, and like I said, they're more expensive, but there's never been a
still
time where I
very good.
disenjoyed.
Green Lantern
did
was a
not
run
enjoy.
in and grab place too.
They do have run in and grab places, but the original Green Lantern pizza is like a nice,
Is
like
a sit-
dimly lit.
Oh.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
it's really good too. I really like the restaurant. They've got.
I'd
great
be
food,
interested in
but-
trying that sometime. Yeah, I still think even if it makes me feel like garbage afterwards, I still think Green
Oh, yeah,
Lantern.
it's
I
good.
will take those lumps for Green Lantern. Are we all cool with S tier then for Green Lantern? Matt, you've been silent for this entire conversation.
I'm all right with it. My hot take is that I think Jets is better.
I agree
we'll
with
get
that.
there.
I think
Well,
Jets is better.
We'll be at Jets soon. We can
But
talk about Jets soon because we'll move on
that's
to
me.
Happy's
Because
Pizza.
Jets doesn't make me want to throw up.
So this is the conversation I was having at the beginning. So Happy's is the one that I used to go to when I was in college. They can you can get some more fancier stuff put on, like I said, steak, mushrooms, all sorts of craziness. They also do the wings, the ribs. They're more of like a sports
They have a
bar kind
fried
of
fish.
atmosphere. Yeah.
Depends on the one you go to. The one that I used to go to was just a run in and grab place, but they still had like the fried fish, the ribs, the chicken wings, and stuff like
Well,
that.
I don't dislike Happy's, but I'm never like, ooh, I want Happy's pizza.
I have mixed feelings because it used to be awesome. That used to be like the pizza place of choice for my family, and the one that we used to go to went out of business. And they kind of went really downhill. But it is the only pizza place where we got a pizza called the Kitchen Sink Pizza, which was a pizza that had every topping they had available on it.
Wow.
The only one I asked them to take off was anchovies, and that's just because my dad refused to eat it. But we tried that one time.
I do
It was
not
about
very
as
good.
awful as you can think it was.
Yeah.
Anchovies are the worst.
Yeah. For me, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I've had Happy's a few times, and I think I've mostly had Happy's when we have gotten to Ethan when we used to live next
Yeah.
to each other.
Yeah.
And it's okay. That's
Yeah.
basically where I'm at with it. Is it's not bad, but it's not like Happy's Pizza, you know.
For me, I would put Happy's an A under Little Caesars.
I don't think I've ever had it, so I have no opinion.
I have no opinion.
I would rather have
Honestly,
Happy's than Cottage Inn.
I would say Happy's over Cottage Inn, so it's either gotta be bottom A tier or upper B tier.
I'll put in bottom A for
I
now.
I do have an opinion. I hate their mascot. It looks like a lemon. I
Yeah.
don't understand what
It looks
is.
kind of silly.
Negative points. Negative points to whatever my points matter.
Negative points.
It's like Whose Line? It's the points are made up and don't matter or whatever they say.
Right.
they don't
Everything's
matter.
made up and the
Points don't
points don't matter.
Yeah.
Welcome to Whose Line.
Are we good with Happy's here in the low A tier?
Yes.
Hungry Howie's.
This is gonna be
Another one
decisive,
kind
I
of
can
running
tell.
and another run in and grab kind of place. They are known for their flavored crust. They have like 10 different flavored crusts that you can
I
get.
think they just came out with
You
another
can
one.
also, you can also get like personal sized pizzas for like $5. They have their own $5 pizza, but it's like a personal sized pizza that you can get there. And they run all these like deals, like 2 mediums for $10. So I would say they are kind of like Little Caesars in a way, but trying to be a little bougier if you can be bougier with that style of pizza
Honestly,
restaurant.
I would say Hungry Howie's is everything DP wants to be.
Agreed.
It is.
It's
much
what it's
better.
what it's trying to be.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think Hungry Howie's would be absolutely bottom tier if it wasn't for their flavored crusts. I love their flavored crusts. I think that rockets
think
their
their
pizza up
actual-
I
significantly.
think the pizzas are fine.
I think their actual pizzas are pretty decent too. Now, I don't think they're as good as Little Caesars, which is the restaurant I will more compare them to. But I like Hungry Howie's. There's a Hungry Howie's
Yeah.
right down the road from us. We get it pretty frequently. Is
I
it the
Their
do
best
garlic
pizza?
crust, their Cajun crust.
Yeah, no, the
Ooh,
crust is
It's
just the
pretty
best.
great.
And doing their flavored crust, like if you're in the mood for pizza, but you're not in the mood for like a straight pizza, the flavored crust really can change up the
I'm only
pizza
in the
game
mood
for
for
you.
gay pizzas.
for what pizzas?
You
The
said
gay
you're in
pizzas.
the mood for straight pizza. I said I'm only in the mood for gay.
I don't know. I think the bisexual pizzas are a little bit
Yeah.
better, honestly. You get a little bit of both.
Asexual pizzas.
Never know.
Asexual
Ace
pizzas.
pizzas.
The ace
Ace
pizza.
So for me, Hungry Howie's is a B above Cottage Inn.
Ooh, we're moving Cottage Inn so far down, and it hurts my soul, but I won't disagree.
I mean, personally,
The
I'd
flavored
say it's up
crust
in A
ain't
next
that.
to Little Caesars, but
I would
will
Hungry
say
say that
I'd say Howie's is above Happy's, but below Little Caesars. I'd
Oh,
agree
you
with
know what?
Aaron.
Yeah.
I would be okay
That's where I
moving
would say it is.
Hungry's up and moving Happy's down to B, honestly.
I am frustrated how high Little Caesars is at. But I will
Because
You're
you're a
dealing with
hater.
Michigans, people.
Yeah.
You've been conditioned to
that
be
way
a
I'm
hater.
not-
Yeah.
No, I've evolved. past
everyone
this.
hates on Little
Oh,
Caesars
world
as
you
if
live
it's
in.
not the McDonald's of
Everyone does.
pizza.
But I will say that Howie doesn't look very hungry in the logo,
It's very bad.
and looks actually pretty fine. So I'm I'm not into it.
Um,
If that had been Happy's pizza, I'd be like, oh look, that person's freaking happy.
oh.
He
The happy
is a
little
better
guy.
mascot than Happy's smiley face.
Yeah. So there you
Yeah,
go.
that look. You
That's
know what?
what I'll
After
have to say
Matt
about
and Brendan, I agree with you guys. I'd put Hungry Howie's above Happy's, and if we're giving Happy's a low A, Hungry Howie's is a mid A.
Mhm.
It is a serviceable
It's
pizza.
solid.
Jets.
Yeah.
There we go. I don't
Ooh,
think there
Jets.
needs to be any discussion other than the fact that Jets' ranch dressing has
Oh
to
my
be the
God.
greatest ranch dressing on the face of the
Jets-
planet. Jets is S
Jets-
tier.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'd
Jets
shot up
Jets
there
is phenomenal.
with its jet
They are known for their deep dishes. They have amazing sauce, and they put a lot of it on their pizza. Again,
They're
it's like Green
square.
Lantern.
They're
It's that-
square pizzas. They're all corner pizzas are amazing.
Yep. The only thing I will say about Jets, much like Green Lantern, is they can be really expensive.
This is true. Although, if you okay, I have Jet's birthday programmed in my phone because you get like 40% off, but that's neither here nor there. They generally will give you a coupon for like 10 to 15% off if you go, hey, got any coupons? You're like, oh yeah, boom, and then just apply it to your order. And the thing, so ranch aside, if we're talking straight up about the pizza, we were talking about flavored crust carrying Hungry Howie's up. The flavored crust at Jets is what I think makes it number one for me because we're talking turbo crust. Garlic, Romano, and butter on the crunchy corners of this deep dish Detroit style pizza cannot be matched. If you get it without the turbo crust, okay, maybe mid A, maybe mid to low A. With turbo crust, hands down best pizza on the list.
Honestly,
Wait,
in my opinion, I've never had turbo before, and I still
It'll
think
change.
it's an S,
It'll
even
change
with-
your life.
Even without it, I gotta try this. I've
The
never
fact
had
that
this
they were
before.
smart enough to offer a pizza that every single slice is a corner slice of their square, that like to me was like, you guys get it. Like you totally understand why I love pizza.
I was gonna say, so that's the question now. Does Jets go before Green Lantern? Which I think it does.
And the
I
flavored
personally think
crust,
it's one
I think it
just
does.
just for our viewers that are going to be visiting Jets Pizza soon, flavored crust is free at Jets Pizza.
It is.
Oh,
It is not an additional charge.
now you
like
guys make
other
me want
places.
friggin' Jets
Like,
pizza.
Like this.
But
actually,
honestly,
it's
if we're
free
not even
here.
if we're gonna go back to the ranch dressing, like honestly, like I would put it in S tier just for the ranch
It's-
dressing. 'cause
it's
the
good.
ranch dressing is
It's that
ridiculous.
pure just industrial ranch that comes in the giant jugs that have no label on it because you know if there's a label on it, you're gonna die after reading it. It's that type of ranch. It's good.
Matt Allen's
It's probably
like,
like
these freaking
1,200
Michiganders
calories
in
for
their
like
ranch.
a lick. Yeah, a ranch.
It's okay.
Until
I
you
am
try
also
it,
not a
man,
fan
you
of
really
ranch.
can't say anything.
I've tried ranch with pizza before. We have Sarpinos over here. Like you guys don't have Sarpinos. You don't even know what that is.
I have no idea. You
Sapino's
said
in
it.
downtown Detroit is my favorite pizza place ever. The City Wing thing is the best pizza I've ever had.
Oh, all I'm saying is that I know I can have a pizza. That's the only pizza I'll eat with ranch is Sarpinos because they know what they're doing. But that is a Midwest thing for sure.
I'm with you on Matt. I don't do ranch
I
with
hate
pizza either.
ranch.
I think
I
Justice
just hate
ranch is
ranch.
great. I eat it on their salad, but I won't dip my pizza in it.
No,
think
I
that's
don't. I don't
weird
dip the
combo.
pizza either. I
But it
think
is a
the
big
ranch
thing.
is too
My wife
powerful
loves
of a
it. It
flavor.
looks like Eric loves it.
I
Yeah.
love the
I mean,
ranch.
people
I'm
get like
fine
8
with eating
ranches,
whatever.
just like
Yeah.
dump it all over their pizza.
I just
But yeah,
don't like
I'm
ranch
cool
in
with where
general.
Jets is on this bad boy. That's the correct answer.
God,
Mod pizza.
mod is so
For those who
interesting.
so mod pizza is cool. If you don't have a mod near you, you might have a Blaze pizza. It's the same like concept. You go in, you get like a personal sized pizza. You put the sauce you want on it. It's like Chipotle but pizza. You pick,
Yeah, you get,
get to
personal,
build your own pizza.
customizable pizzas.
Yes.
And there's no
It's
additional charge for any of the toppings. And then it
Yep.
is brick oven roasted.
It's a brick oven
So
pizza.
it's in a fire brick oven pizza.
I like mod, and I like mod for one reason. I like topping heavy pizzas. I like mushrooms and black olives and ham and pep. I want the full kit and caboodle. My wife is like, I want pepperoni and bacon. I like pepperoni. I hate bacon on a pizza. It just makes the pizza taste nasty, in my opinion. But you don't want any veggies on it. So we go to mod, and guess what? We both get what we want. I get my veggie heavy pizza, and she gets her meat lovers pizza, and everyone goes home happy. If I have to say anything negative about mod, I think their crust kind of isn't
Their crust is kind
great.
of
It's
That's
very
why you get the mega
You get
mod.
the
where
X-
they take two.
the mega
You take
mod.
they take the two crusts and they smash them together to make it like more doughy and more like an traditional pizza.
and
I
I
was
like
just saying-
that.
they don't like to put a lot of toppings on. Even if you don't get a lot, they just don't do a lot.
Yeah, they're pretty stingy
It
unless
depends
you
who you
make
get.
them. Hey, go back and
Because you know,
like,
you
put
walk
more
up, you're
on
like,
there.
hey, I want some pepperoni. Like, all right, they put like 5 pepperoni on the whole pizza, and you're like, okay.
In fairness, their business strategy is to get a whole bunch of
Yes.
like middle school and high schoolers.
Yeah,
to
they
work
want to
in
get a
there,
bunch of
so.
people in and through, and
One
Yeah.
thing I will say that I
understand
am
this, so-
selfishly really
Cool,
like
yeah.
about them is they are super accommodating for allergies. My wife has
Yes.
a bunch of allergies. They have gluten-free crusts. They have dairy-free cheese. So you can make a completely vegan pizza and they're very, very accommodating. So I do really enjoy that.
That's
about them.
definitely a strong point. I always describe like mod and even Blaze pizza as they're kind of like the jack of all trades kind of pizza where you can pretty much go in there and get any kind of pizza you want, but it's the phrase is jack of all trades, master of none. So you're not
Yeah.
gonna get like the crazy
best
good quality
pizza.
of Green Lantern or Jets or anything. But because it's so accommodating, if you were like, I want to have a pizza with pineapple and whatever the hell else on it for whatever reason, you can go in and you can get it there really easy.
Yep.
That might give you some weird looks, but you know that's just how it goes with those kinds of places.
They'll make whatever you want. They also offer like finishes at the end. I don't get those, but they'll put like buffalo wing sauce on it or extra pizza sauce or
Pesto.
butter and oil, like whatever you want, like as a finisher on it too. So
Yeah.
you can really, really personalize it. I'd say mod for me is an A tier,
Yeah,
but we're an A tier. I still think Little Caesars is higher.
I think Hungry Howard is just a better pizza.
I agree. I would put it under or I put above Happy's.
I'm good with that.
Are we good
That
with that?
works with me. I think so, yeah.
Nerdy, have you ever had mod pizza before or Blaze pizza?
No, nope,
No?
neither of either.
Have you ever been
If
to
you
a
ever have a
place
chance,
like that where it's
try
like a
'em, they're
build your
good.
own kind of pizza? Like as you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, yeah, there was a place around here that was like that, and it was pretty cool. It's like a Chipotle for pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Exact-
imagine
same
the
exact thing.
quality is pretty much the same. Honestly, the price
Mhm.
point might be different because mod's pretty good with their pricing, especially not charging more for toppings.
Yeah, they're pretty
but,
cheap
yeah.
for what you can get.
Yeah.
At least you can get some pretty crazy pizzas for not that much.
Yeah.
Especially with how customizable it is. It's nice. But the Big Hut,
The Big Hut.
The
They
big
got
Hut.
great breadsticks.
This one I think is gonna
the
be
best
spicy, because
breadsticks.
I
Hands
know
down.
people who love Pizza Hut, and I like Pizza Hut a lot. And I know people
No.
who hate Pizza Hut. What I will say for Pizza Hut, I will not say Pizza Hut's pizza is better than anything in the A tier.
No, but
At
their
highest,
breadsticks
it
on
is
their
a-
sides.
It's a B
So
tier.
I will
but-
tell you, Pizza Hut is the White Castle of pizza.
I disagree with
I
that.
think
It
DP is
is-
better than Pizza Hut.
It is
What?
That
bad.
is blasphemy.
It is
That is a
lie.
bad
I
take.
hate
Whenever he's
Pizza
had
Hut.
it on other pizzas before, make sure that it's stricken for the record. This person clearly doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think the quality of the pizza is about the same between those two, but Pizza Hut has way better sides. Their breadsticks are the best
Pizza-
breadsticks.
They have the
Pizza Hut is
cinnamon
a
breadsticks that are to die
style
for.
Yes.
diarrhea pizza, man. It
You don't
is,
have to
like,
get
I
the
take
pizza buffet though.
The pizza itself is
I've
bad.
ordered so many different pizzas from Pizza Hut because my sister was obsessed with them back in the day. like within a second of taking a bite of any of their pizzas, my stomach is like on fire. Like it is just
Wow.
terrible. Like it kills me every time.
Yeah,
And
no.
I've got pretty much an iron gullet. I can eat almost anything,
Yeah.
and Pizza Hut just kills me.
I think Pizza Hut is underrated a little bit.
I
They have
don't.
these things. They have a $10 box, which is a medium pizza, breadsticks, and cinnamon sticks for $10. And
2 of those
I
3
do that
items
with-
are great.
with Sam and Brendan all the time, and it's delicious. And we are totally fine with it if we don't want to do Little Caesars, but put it higher than B.
No, it is not higher than
I,
I'm assuming that
think
Eric.
It's B. I'll
Yeah.
keep it at B.
I
Like
think
that's it's not.
B-
It's clearly not the best pizza you get. It's not great either, but it's not.
No,
It's not DP. That is
I wouldn't say
Ooh.
it's not DP, but I'd put it like where Buddies is at. It's
Yeah.
low.
I'd
put it in
almost I'd
C.
put it in C because we got people that
I'd
love
put it
it. We
in
got
C.
people that absolutely hate it.
Yep.
That's fair.
I think C.
I'm fine with
C needs
C.
to be-
Only
Yeah,
because I
actually, yeah. See,
yeah,
because
yeah.
the pizza itself is
I'm
not
fine
good,
with C.
but their breadsticks.
Yes,
Though
Yeah.
ironically,
that's my thing.
They
is
do
if I go to
everything
Pizza
but
Hut,
pizza,
I don't
right?
have to get their pizza. I can just stock up on like their cinnamon sticks.
Yeah.
Like where it's like if everyone's like, "Hey, we're going to Pizza Hut," I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm getting something else because at least there because I'm not ordering their pizza because I'm not using that
Ironically,
public restroom."
ironically, I think I like Pizza Hut better than Buddies, but I'm okay with the ranking as it is right now.
I think Pizza Hut.
And
has bad
last but
pizza.
not least, Shields Pizza. In my opinion, Shields Pizza is worse than California Pizza Kitchen.
It's about the same price too.
Yeah, it is. And it's so bad. It comes out like this long rectangle pizza, and it's like someone just
So-
shart sauce out in the middle of it, and you're like, "What
Yeah.
is this? What have you
Yeah.
done to my pizza?"
Shields
Yeah, it's
does
definitely dough, cheese, and then sauce. Which again, to me,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mind, but I'd rather the sauce be spread out on my pizza and the cheese on top. I know I'm weird that way because I know Detroit style pizza is technically the dollops of sauce on top of the cheese. But yeah, I'm not one big for Shields either.
Yeah, there was a Shields by us. I've eaten there 2 or 3 times, and I hated my pizza each and every time.
We've been to the same Shields. Absolutely
Yep.
hated it.
They went out of business. There's something else now.
I wouldn't doubt it. They were terrible.
They were awful. They were never busy either. I remember the last time we went to Shields, it was before I got married, and we got like a coupon. It was like get 40% off a pizza, which when they're doing something like that, they're having some troubles because their pizzas are like $20. So we go in there, we pay like $12 for this pizza. We like ate 2 slices. We were like,
You could have got
We
2
would've
hot
rather-
Are you
ready.
talking about the one that's over
I would've
on
rather got
Two
Roman
hot and
Plank?
ready, and I think a breadstick.
yeah,
The one that used to
Yeah.
be over on Romeo Plank? Yeah. You
Yep.
watch that one slowly
bad.
die a miserable death. That restaurant.
I honestly
bad.
don't know if I've ever.
and I don't
eaten
know
there.
if maybe their original location, wherever the hell that is better. But that one location we went to, Shields Pizza, was bad.
Sorry, guys.
Rip.
Also, Brendan, I like your Sentinel fried chicken bucket that you have up on the
Yes.
stream here.
It was up there last time too.
You should make a Sentinel fry pizza emoji.
We should get one for Pazzo's Pizza.
Yeah, Pazzo's pizza
oh.
emoji. I'll design the logo with you. Just put Joel's dumb fucking face on it. Just
Actually, I've never realized that is not on the right spot. but- Oh,
so
well.
there you have it, folks. The Alicia Streams pizza tier list for Michigan pizza joints. We hope this has been enlightening for you, and it's been fun for us. Who knows? Maybe we'll do Taco Bell menu items next time.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
And moving on to what the actual episode is listed as,
Now that we've
ranking the
spent
classified
literally
pizza.
an hour on pizza.
Well, are we gonna take our break now? We gotta take our break.
Yeah, we can take our let's come back.
We were
in.
literally like, we're gonna talk about
Right.
pizza for 15 minutes. Proceed.
Yeah,
Yes,
here we are an hour
No,
later.
lie.
Our 15-minute
We'll be
pizza
back at
tier list
9.
took 60.
Yep, we'll be back at 9.
All right.
So.
Okay.
hello. Welcome back. We're late, but also one of us died, so. Rip.
Yes, you'll notice that
You'll
Matt's not
notice
here.
that
He had
there are 4
explosive
instead of 5.
diarrhea and cannot join us until his diarrhea is done.
He lost
I'm kidding.
power.
Yeah, his power
His
went
power
out,
went out.
which is unfortunate.
We're getting not fun storms where we are from, so it's knocking everyone's power out.
Oh, sick. My refund went through, and they finally gave me my money back.
Good. Getting more
Oh,
money is always a pleasure.
I
So,
ordered
yeah.
Spider-Man Game of the Year, and they sent me the Spanish copy, and that's fun. So,
Al Speedray, man.
yeah. El Spider-Man Game of the Euro edition, or whatever it's.
Spiders Man.
Ooh,
Spiders,
No.
man.
best one.
I don't speak
Sp-
Spanish.
Best one.
Spiders Man is the best one. He's the alternate universe
That's my favorite one.
Spider-Man, where it's literally just thousands of spiders
Spiders
in the
that make 'em
Spider-Man
up, yeah.
costume who believe that they're Peter Parker.
That's
There's some
awesome.
really
It's
funny
great.
alternate universe.
It's my
characters.
favorite.
I'm really
It's
curious
my
what
favorite
Spider-Man
one.
is actually in Spanish.
It's just Spider-Man.
Oh,
But
no, it's gotta
all
be-
of the like extra stuff was in Spanish.
Hombre Anara.
There you go.
That's Spider-Man. All right. So
So-
actually, what the video is
Yes.
titled here, which is the ranking
Oh.
the D&D classes we spent over an
I-
hour on pizza.
As a note for you guys, I have reordered the classes alphabetically with the exception of Bloodhunter being all the way in the back, which is not the order that it has it on the actual tier list.
Hooray.
But
I will be looking at your stream.
that is how it is done. So Artificer is first, and then we end on Wizard and then Bloodhunter if we want to actually do that. But I don't think any of us have enough information on Bloodhunter.
I
Other
don't know
than
if I'd
it
rank
is
Bloodhunter.
better base Ranger than Ranger.
I've read Bloodhunter. Bloodhunter sounds kind of cool, but
It
I've
does,
never played
yeah.
Bloodhunter. I've never been
Never
with
played it.
anyone or run a game where someone's played Bloodhunter. I can't rank them.
I don't know any people that I know that play D&D.
I
because
just
some
want
of
to
my
be a
friends
Lycan.
also
That's
do
all I
it.
want. I want to be a Lycan. and
I want to
Lycan
be
is
a
the
were
coolest.
shark. Just show up.
I
All of
am
a
a
sudden, be
were
like, all right, that's it, and then become King Shark, and then just murder
Yep.
people as King
There you
Shark.
go.
Yep.
The Nawe.
Not now way.
No.
All right, well, let's start this
That's probably
this
always
up here. We'll start with Artificer, which everyone
played-
within the stream would be unaware, but Nerdy was an Artificer in the short Lost Mines of Phandelver game that Matt ran for us.
And I
He
played
had a lot of fun with that.
an Artificer and other stuff.
I love artificers.
I do too.
I
They're
think
actually really, really cool.
artificers
There's a lot
are
of flavor.
slept on.
Yeah, I think they're
I
underrated.
feel like
Yeah, they are.
if I was gonna put them in a tier, as far as like some of my, I would say I'm looking at the thing right here. I'd say A tier. I
AT
think
for
they're
Artificer.
that. I think
Eight
artificers
for
are
Artificer.
that good.
Oh.
Yeah,
Here's a
they're
good
that
question though.
fun.
Before we get too much in here, one, I don't think
Yes.
we should consider multi-classing at all in this. This is just
Nope.
a class
Straight class,
from
raw class.
Straight.
no
yes,
multi-classing. I don't care that this class is amazing if you multi-class it with Paladin. We're talking straight class
Bard.
here. Yeah, exactly.
Bard is the best
Um,
multi-class class.
And I'm assuming we're considering all available subclasses that come attached
Correct.
to
Yes.
this class.
All official subclasses.
Now I would put
Yes.
different subclasses in various
Yes,
positions.
Right, like,
on
yeah,
that
that's
list.
the way I
That's
see it.
agreed.
Is if there's a subquest that's
Agreed.
trash, it weighs down the really good subquest.
The rest
because you
of
gotta
it,
kind
yes.
of.
Because
So-
I'll
But
be,
honestly,
I'll be
like,
honest,
I don't think there's a particularly bad subclass for Artificer. I mean, Alchemist
think
is kind of the
Alchemist-
weirdest,
Alchemist is
but Alchemist has a
meh.
lot of use. It's a very like interesting and versatile subclass.
what I
I
don't
just
like
think
about.
like you could get it better. Like,
Yeah,
otherwise.
there's better ways to go about it, but if you want it to be
But,
using some of
but
the
in
Artificer
Artificer's
mechanics,
favor,
a
the
lot of fun.
armor that was introduced in Tasha's is phenomenal.
armor's
It,
great.
it is an
Amazing.
amazing class.
You're
And
Iron Man.
the Battle Master or Battle
Battlesmith.
Defender or whatever, Battlesmith is
Battlesmith.
super good too.
Battlesmith.
And I even think the Artillerist is really kind
I
of
played
a
the
cool thing.
Artillerist, and
Yeah.
it's really, really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just shut down
All of
cannons and
those
do
are
stuff.
great.
I'm in agreement with
So-
you. I like A for
Yeah.
Artificer.
It's just a
Artif-
solid
A
class.
for
There's only
Artificer.
one bad tier in there,
And I wouldn't
it's-
even
that
say
is
Alchemist
like
is
all right.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alchemist just doesn't stack up with the other subclasses. I love the
you
flavor
would
of the
need to
Alchemist.
want to do that.
Yes.
Yeah,
You-
like
you
your-
have a
your
character in mind.
Wants to do.
Yeah.
I have a plan. I'm going to be playing an Alchemist eventually.
I
Like,
want to
have an
too.
idea for what I want, but when you multi-class, that's the where that actually shines.
Yeah.
But it doesn't shine on its own.
Like Alchemist with Druid or Alchemist with
Yeah,
something else similar. It really
Like
amplifies
maybe
your
like a
ability to be an
thief
alchemist.
rogue, like a thief
Now,
rogue.
here's
that is
a good
handing
question though,
out
because I
potions.
do think these classes should be ranked in relation to
Ooh.
each other. Artificer's a half caster, along with
Yes.
Yep.
Ranger and Paladin, I believe.
Warlock.
And
Yeah,
Warlock.
Warlock
right?
is also a
Is
half
Warlock
caster.
considered a half caster?
Warlock is a half caster.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no way they're a full caster. They don't have enough
Well,
spell
they-
slots.
They,
Yeah, I
well,
guess that- I
they're
guess that's true.
technically
I always thought they
They're
were considered
Warlock, is what they
a
are.
full
They're not.
caster,
They're
but
not
they
a
were
full caster
weird.
because they only get to 5th level slots,
Oh, that's true.
which is why they're
Yeah.
half casters. But their slot progression is the normal progression for, or like their slot
Yes.
level progression is normal for
Yeah.
full caster. The
Their-
Warlock is
their amount of
Warlock,
spell
is what it
slots
is.
They do not have a
Yes.
lot of spell slots.
They do not get the spell slots to be
Yeah,
a full
no,
caster.
they don't.
though.
I
They
think you
cannot
get like
act as a full
5 or
caster.
6 by level 20 or something.
You get
Yeah.
like
So
6.
how do we feel Artificer stacks up between the Paladin, the Warlock, and the
compared to also full casters like Wizard and Druid and stuff?
Well, I
too.
guess I'd rather
Druid.
rank it against the half casters here, just in terms of where they stand, because full casters are full casters.
I think that it depends on how cool, not cool. I don't think that's necessarily the right word to say.
You have
It
to be
depends
creative.
on how you and your DM have decided that your Artificer works.
True.
Now, if it's just another magic thing, then I would say it's probably
Lower.
above Warlock, but
Lower
lower
than
than everything else.
Yeah.
Lower than Paladin or like
And
a Ranger
Ranger.
or something like that. Just because it's just like, but if you and your DM have gotten together and they're like, this is patently not magic, and it is just you producing like
Machines
things
and
in
effects
order-
and
machines in order to
Oceans or
produce
whatever.
magical like effects, and then you play that in like, so let's say it's like there's an anti-magic field and it doesn't affect you because you're using a jetpack when you cast fly as opposed to
casting a
something
spell.
else.
Yeah.
I would put it at the top because because that's a huge boon for you.
That's a big
Is
boon.
It's giant.
that's a big, so it's like it, but that's not, the game says that's what's going on, but there's no mechanical way.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no mechanical
that.
representation.
Raw,
of it.
if raw, I believe you would still be affected by all
Yes.
of the magical
Rules as
jamming.
written, you are
Yeah.
still casting a
Stuff.
spell. It's
So
just you're
it does- I
re-flavoring
agree.
the casting.
Artificer is a class that really is DM dependent and how they want to weave you into their world. Mechanically,
Yeah.
I think Artificer is pretty swell for the most part.
Mhm.
I heard of
yeah,
But
that.
I
That'd be
do
cool.
believe a lot of like the more role playing elements of it, it really depends on the game that you're in.
Mhm.
And I think Artificer sort of suffers because they come from Eberron and they're more of a steampunky kind of class. If you're in a very
Yes.
traditional high fantasy setting, Artificer's a very weird
They're out of place.
fit in that kind of thing there. In my head, I feel like that brings it down to a B for me. Mechanically, I'm in the A department completely. But I think you bring up a good point, Nerdy, that a good DM makes that class either shine or
Again,
I
that's why I
will say,
say
though,
when you
too,
look at
another-
armorer, if you look at armorer specifically, battlesmith specifically, and actually the alchemist, those can all work within the high fantasy setting without a whole lot of extra bits.
it's true
Because
they
it's just
kind of-
like constructs exist, so you just made one, and you're a wizard.
They
but
just
your
play a
thing
more
is that you
magic-focused
mostly work your
artificer than a
construct.
machine-focused
Yeah,
artificer.
then a more machine focus. Same with the battlesmith. It's like, like I put runes in
Or by
because like there's
armor
spell
and
storing
whatever.
rings and that all the magic exists already to do that, and then you're just focusing it on this particular armor thing.
Okay, I can
And
understand.
then
Play it more
alchemist
as
is potion,
enchanter.
so it's like,
Yeah, I can understand that.
But then all of your casting spells, I mean, like the spells that you do, not like the special things
Artificer
that your
things,
whatchamacallit, Artificer makes, then you're just a wizard at that point, and then you also
simple
have
spell
this
list, too.
cool other thing.
Mhm.
Which,
So
on
it's just
another note, Artificer spell list has actually got a lot of really cool and really fun spells in there too. For
I
a
do
couple
like
of
the
different
Artificer
styles.
spell list.
They get some good support, some good damage.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm cool. You've convinced me. I'm cool leaving an Artificer in
Hey,
it.
I
It's
say
pretty
an
solid all
A.
around.
I say A.
Alright,
Eric, are
Could
you
be,
good with
could
A?
be better, but
yeah, I haven't been an
ours-
artificer before. Again, to me, they're very unique. I do see your point of Ethan is aware, like, if a DM were to say this is high fantasy, and I do agree they're easy to fit in high fantasy, but from what I've read and people have talked about, I could see that being a class where DM says like this is not allowed in here
Yeah.
for somebody who
you
doesn't
have to
really
do a
understand how
lot
to
of work
utilize them.
to do it.
Where
It-
Well,
it's a
things are-
higher like collaborative.
It's a
Exactly,
very
And when I think Artificer, I think of like someone who's got like a gun or something too. Like they've got all these like high-tech gadgets, and it might not fit. Though I do 100% agree with both Brendan and Nerdy that they can make that fit in
It's
there.
on the DM. It's on the DM and the players to do that.
Example,
And a good
the best example of an artificer in a movie that I've ever seen is the Goonies, because the kid with all of the stuff in his pockets and like the little teeth that shoot up and make bungee cords, like that's what an artificer would look like in a world where there is no other
very
thing.
MacGyver kind of class.
Yeah.
Like
You
so
just
it's like,
take things and make
so
stuff.
if you take that away from it, like you would have to do in order to make it high fantasy, and just like say it's like a magic guy, it kind of loses like the fun if it's just like, oh, it's magic. It's like, well, then I could have just been a wizard or a sorcerer. You know what I mean? Like I might as well just do one of those things. So, yep, A is good.
It's still an
if
A.
you have a
I
good
agree.
DM.
It is still an A.
It's a very fun class.
DM dependent, but definitely an A. So let's move on to
Barbarian
Barbarian
is next, yes.
Yes,
Little
Barbarian
barbs.
is the next one.
Man, their spell list is pretty bad, not gonna lie. But everything else about them is pretty solid.
So
He says ass.
S for Barbarian.
I said S.
I don't know.
I might agree with Nerdy on this one.
I have a hard time with that. Saying
all my
Barbarian is
DMing, the most frustrating player I've had to deal with, and I know there's gonna be some people. We have 3 people watching. I know one of the 3 people watching might come back and say, "Well, Ethan, if you just throw more magic people in there, the Barbarian isn't really that threatening." I'm sorry. In the modules that we ran, friggin' Eric's Barbarian Thok was a true form tank. I could not. It was actually work for me to take him down. When you hit a 5th, 6th level Barbarian, I mean, Sentinel is level 3. He's level 3. And I have trouble taking him down sometimes because he just has so much HP and he can just rage and cut all the damage in half. The only thing that may make me dump Barbarian down a little bit is I feel like in the general consensus of things, they are amazing tanks, but they're not amazing damage dealers, and they kind of fall into a very niche role. And I think some of the other books have started to lean away from that and help the Barbarian expand themselves, but I definitely feel they're mostly considered the tank class.
All I'm saying is, first of all, Barbarians do exactly what they're supposed to do.
They go in,
really
they get angry.
Like that's
They really do.
No matter what
and
subclass you pick as well, it's not like it
they're
really
always
tools
doing that.
itself. It is exactly what it's supposed
All
to
of
do.
the subclasses
And then
build
so
on
it's
the
like-
core Barbarian.
Some are like amazing, like the bear totem barb. Everyone talks about the
Totem
bear totem
barb.
barbarian because
Totem
it
barb.
literally is just like, all right, I'm gonna take all the damage no matter what you do. I'm gonna take all, and then I'm gonna keep fighting. And yeah, it doesn't have any, but you forget the rage gives you +2, and that grows as you go.
Yeah.
To like extra damage,
That's
you know what
true.
I mean? And you have extra attacks. You're really going to be dealing out consistent damage to whatever you're fighting with not a whole lot of ways for it to like really rip you apart. Then, and that's just totem barbarian, like the classic I'm going to do meat sponge stuff. But when you start looking at some of the other things that you can do, like you're getting a good thing every time. That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree. I have a sweet spot because I started D&D and Barbarian was my pick, and it was the traditional half-orc Barbarian, like Ethan said. It just it does what it's supposed to do. I think it's where some people who just like want to smash things find their fun. So it's really a unique thing in the fact that it just really targets a specific area, does it well, and it's like you said, Ethan. Honestly, I think it comes down to the fact that it's probably in the party. It absolutely has to be dealt with for the DM to win an encounter. It is one of the only classes where, like, Rangers, like you can deal with it in a similar way you can deal with Paladin, or you can deal with Warlock in a similar way you can deal with such and such, or you can deal with a Bard in a similar way you deal with a Wizard. Like, Barbarian has to be dealt with.
And it's the perfect first time player class.
Yeah,
like
it is an easy class.
There's
to play.
no spells.
Yeah,
It's just
I think there's
you hit
only
things really hard.
one class I would say is better than Barbarian to be the first time, and that's just Champion Fighter. Because that's literally just you walk in, you attack, and that's it. There's no extra abilities related to
another
the
stuff
do
with
it.
that. I wouldn't say fighter in and of itself is the best starting class. So champion fighter, yes, is very
Yes.
easy to use.
Champion is just
But I
like,
feel like-
the simplest.
But I
You go
feel like
in,
the
you
other
attack, and
fighter
you do nothing else.
subclasses have a lot of nuance
Yes.
to them.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a bit.
And the extra
And
dice you
Barbarian,
add
no
and-
offense, this is not an insult to Barbarian. What I'm gonna say, Barbarian doesn't. You
No.
walk into
No
battle,
complexity.
you stand there, you take hits, and you whack stuff with your axe.
You
And
have
you
have one
can-
bonus action. You
Yeah,
literally
and
have one bonus
one.
action across all
And
the classes.
whatever your thing is,
Frenzy.
the elemental
or
one,
Berserker.
the
but
elemental one,
do you
you
want that
get
level of
like a
exhaustion?
fire power, electric power, or a snow power.
Mhm.
If you do and the wild magic one that just came out now also
fun.
provides you with a little bit of extra stuff. So if you want to be a barbarian but have a little bit more flavor, you can like do force blasts and throw
You can
stuff. and
teleport.
search out
You literally get
magic,
free
teleport.
Misty Step every turn. It's so stupid.
like that's great. So it's like I think that especially with the addition of the beast, the wild magic,
Wild Magic is
and
so
the other
One of the
one that
coolest
just came
subclasses
out.
they've ever made.
It's probably one of the beast one is actually really cool.
The
Is
beast
the
is
one
also
that I'm gonna
really
want to
cool.
try to do it. Try to do next. It like you could
You
shape
grow
shift.
claws.
Yeah, you
or
literally when you
grow
go into a
teeth
rage,
or
you become a
tail.
lycanthrope basically.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's I
It's
think
really,
I
really
think
cool.
that's I think it's an S tier. I can't think of why it would be less than it,
Yeah,
it does
I
everything.
I
It's
think
mindless fun. It's
The
mindless
I would
fun.
agree.
only
I agree on
downside to being a barbarian is it doesn't scale well into the higher levels, but that's just true of
Right.
all martial classes. That's the
Yes.
downside of playing a martial is you don't have
Yeah.
good ways
That's
to do
more of
AoE.
more of a D&D problem than it is
Yes,
a
that's just a
barbarian.
In my
D&D
opinion,
balancing
it's my
problem.
opinion.
They're so good in the early game. All the martial classes are just unbelievably powerful at the start, and then as you get to like level 10, they start to really feel
Paper.
bad compared to all of the casters that are like, here's a
But you know what, I'm
37
gonna counter
damage fireball for free.
I'm gonna counter that a bit though, because even when Thok in our previous games was getting blasted by elemental dragon breath, he had such high HP.
Oh yeah.
He could withstand multiple hits and was still a consistent issue. The only time Thok got his ass handed to him was when you guys fought Tiamat, and that's because Tiamat
flying.
literally
Yeah.
was Tiamat.
That was
So
also, the issue.
no,
of-
I'm in agreement.
especially in
I
that
like-
the fight, he couldn't get to any of the cultists for the entire fight.
Yeah.
He just
Right.
ran around
Yeah.
doing nothing because he
Yeah,
just
and
gets his
that
30 feet and
depending on
that's
the
it.
situation, that could be an issue for Barbarian, but I think that's an issue for a lot of the martial classes
Yes.
in general. So
Yeah,
I'm cool
thanks for
giving
range.
Barbarian an S tier. Maybe, and obviously as we go through, we can rearrange things.
Mhm.
Because I kind of do want to compare the Barbarian to Fighter and Rogue and some of the other martial classes. But let's go ahead and move on to our first full caster, which is the Bard, which I saw
Literally the
Nerdy kind of.
single most versatile caster in the entire game.
I'm gonna go with what Matt said though, that they're a jack of all trades. They live an ability called jack of all trades, but master of none. And I think Bard is fantastic.
Bard is an amazing
I-
splash class.
Did I just lose power?
You look
No, you're
like you
still
lost
here.
power.
My light. One sec.
Oh, looks like Discord might have cut out now. Oh,
Oh.
there's the lights.
My light just turned off for whatever reason.
I
God.
mean, you never left Discord, so
Yeah, that's weird. Sorry, everyone.
worries.
So for Bard,
I'm back.
I like
I'm
Bard.
sorry.
I played as a
Awesome.
Bard. Hey, welcome back. I played as a Bard once for a few sessions in another game. Bard is fantastic, but I think Bards are very support heavy. Their Bardic inspiration leans them towards that way. So I
You don't
think
have to play it that
you
way,
as you don't have to,
because
but I
that's
think
what
they
College of
definitely-
Swords is for, to be sword and sorcery and
But the
run
College
in
of
and stuff.
Swords isn't great.
I mean, it's fun for
compared-
what it is.
Compared to, I would rather, if I wanted to be a fighting magic user, I would be a fighter, an Eldritch Knight fighter, or an Arcane Trickster rogue. Over
You know-
I
Yeah.
think bards excel in large parties. If you have a small party, I think the bard becomes less crucial. They're fun. They're super fun to role
Oh, they're
play.
one of
I'd
the
give
most
them, if
fun
we were
role
just
players.
basing it off of the role
They are.
playing, they're probably S tier. But mechanics wise, I'm on Ethan. I'm gonna go again with we did the A for Artificer. I think you put B for bard.
I'm with B for Bard. And some
I-
Bard
okay.
colleges are fantastic. The College of Creation that they did in Tasha's, I haven't
Really
played it,
cool.
but it sounds really fun. There's the College of Glamour, where you're just this
Clan Bards.
eccentric,
the
fabulously glamorous
You're
Bard.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, there's so much awesome role playing stuff there, but I don't know. Bard for me, I've seen my wife played a Bard briefly. I played a Bard briefly. Nick played a Bard for a while, like
Yeah.
all through Strahd, and then
Dallas,
partially for Tiamat too. And no offense to him, he wasn't the most effective character on the battlefield, or even in certain situations. So I'm in for B for Bard.
I know.
Okay, so
Nerdy.
I'm gonna say something
you're-
about. Sorry, I was jumping around. I actually got pizza because we've been talking about pizza for like
There
the
we
last
go.
hour.
There we go. That'll do it.
Was it Little
Okay.
Caesars?
It was not because I love myself and the people around me.
Understandable.
I got Red Savoy. You guys don't have Red Savoy. It's
Yeah,
great.
I've never heard of it. So
So this is what I'm gonna say. I've been writing a campaign for about a couple of years now, and how I have measured bards in my campaign is essentially, this might make people feel some type of way, but they are community college wizards. Like, they are wizards
I
that
do
didn't
like that.
like they did.
I mean, they are the
like
theater
that.
arts kids of the D&D
like
classes.
It's just like wizards are here. Like, you're supposed to be, the best magic user.
You're an elitist.
Yeah, and then the bards are more of like a, hey, so you couldn't get into wizard college. Well, come on over to bard college. Let's play some tunes and let's get some music out. Honestly, though, outside of the inherently socially created roleplay reasons, there's no reason to play a bard. Like, you can be a charismatic sorcerer. You can be a charismatic warlock, charismatic wizard. You can be a charismatic everything else. A rogue can essentially do a lot of the stuff that a bard can do with extra stuff that bards can't do. And, like, there are exceptions based off the subclasses that you might get. But, like, I hear B. I personally say bard's a C. Like, I feel like it's just all right, I guess. But, like,
Okay.
you'd be a more interesting other character if you just did all the bard stuff you wanted to do without the guarantee of success of being a bard. You'd be a more interesting character. Like, as like, I'm a wizard and I'm really charismatic, because that is against form, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
sure. Yeah, kind of the charismatic, promiscuous bard is the ultimate, like, that's what you
It is
expect.
the meme.
I
That's a
give
trope.
Nick,
That is
I
a
give
trope.
Nick credit because he played a bard that couldn't quip or, like, wasn't charismatic at all, which was really funny because I asked, he'd do, like, vicious mockery, and I'd be like, fine, well, how do you mock him? And he'd be like, you.
Smell that!
Yeah, and it was funny because you don't expect that kind of stuff. I'm okay
I
still
will say
leaving.
bards do have a really good spell list as well. They got they got some really good spells, especially some bard exclusive ones that are really,
I
really
will
powerful.
say though, and teaming up with Nerdy here though, a lot of the other spellcasters I think could more or less do what a bard does. Like, let's look at a full caster like Cleric. So you have Bardic Inspiration, which gives a D. It's a D6 to start, right? Or is it a D4? I'm
I
sorry.
believe it's a D6 to start, but it builds up to like a
D6.
D12 or something.
It can build up to a D12. But, like, a Cleric can cast Bless and give a D extra D4 to 4 other people in the party with 1 spell slot at level 1.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's a D12.
So
Yeah,
yes, I
it'll
can
ramp up. Bards can ramp up, and I'll say,
D6
there's
to
some positive things to being a bard.
Bards are great.
Oh yeah,
They have a lot of
definitely,
cool
definitely.
stuff.
That's
That's
why
why
I think
it's
they're
the
in the.
C.
I think that's why I think they're in the upper half. I just
I
don't
think they're a
that
B.
they're.
I think they're a B.
I'd put B too.
I'd say
Are you
B.
okay
with that,
Yeah,
Nerdy?
fair.
I'm fine with B only because I like the glamour bard, but I think that the glamour bard is literally the only reason to be a bard.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a College of Swords, just be an Eldritch Knight. If
Yeah,
you wanna
agreed.
if you wanna do like College of Whispers, just be a rogue with some other stuff. Like glamour bard is what you're trying to do.
I was
You should
looking
just
in
do
Van Richten's. They added a new bard class in
Yes,
there.
they
It's like
did.
the College of
I haven't
Spirits or
actually looked at it
whatever,
too much.
which is really cool looking because it's like you could commune with like the dead and have them do things for you. So instead of being like a musician bard, you're kind of like a ghost storyteller. But what
You're
I
a
don't
cleric.
like about what I don't like about the subclass is it's random. You have to roll on these tables to determine what you do, and unlike say a wild magic barbarian or even wild magic sorcerer, where it's kind of like this nice little addition to what you automatically get for raging or for casting spells for a sorcerer. For the bard, it's like what I want to do. So if I'm like, man, I really need this one that heals the party, and you roll and you're like, cool, fighter, you get a +2 to hit, or what? I don't know what they all are. It can kind of mess up your turns. And again, I feel like the bard subclasses, there's more subclasses than there are like, yes, this subclass is fantastic, which is why I'm okay giving it a B still.
I will
That's what I
say,
said.
cutting
Glamour
words is
Bard.
the most broken thing bards have, and that's college
Yes.
lore, and it is the most unbelievably powerful ability.
Yeah,
The
no,
one
they
where you
have
get
like
to
a
take random spells from anyone's spell list. That
No,
one,
cutting words. Well, that they also
Oh,
get that. They get the free spell from any other spell list, which makes
Which is
them
pretty badass.
You use your
incredibly
bardic
useful.
inspiration to reduce somebody's attack to
Yes,
hit.
but you can
Oh, yeah,
literally
that
just
is
make
good.
it so that you can literally just walk up and say, "No, you don't hit my party member."
yeah, that is true. That is.
It
good.
is one of
I
the
still like
best
paintball.
College of Lore abilities, and one of the best
Which is
support
why I
abilities
say,
in
like,
D&D.
if you're going to go call it, if you're gonna do bard, glamour bard
Glamour
seems
Lord.
to be like the move,
Yeah.
at least in my opinion.
Glamour
Because it's
Lord.
like all you get to do, or lore, yeah.
Because
you
lore
you
has
get to
cutting
kind
words,
of like
which is
you get
so
to like
good.
manipulate people a lot better and
Which,
move your party around.
I will say a
Yeah.
great bard player, Magic Pixel, Dalabraka, played by the wonderful Vicious. He's playing a lore bard, and he's doing a great job as a shapeshifter lore bard.
I will say that
Sam
here's a
Riegel.
caveat.
Yeah, Sam Riegel played a
the
bard, too.
bard
Is a great,
Scanlan.
fantastic
Yes.
card too. from
Scanlan
CS
is the
Scanlan.
bard. But I will say,
They do a
and
great
that
job.
brings me to my next point. If you are a musically inclined person,
Bard is right.
you move the bard class up
Yeah.
already
Oh,
because
yes.
if you can like ad lib and make me all you play,
Yeah.
it's
Improv.
just so
and-
cool. Like
and-
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
if
with
If you
that.
are the
So,
theater arts
if-
kid, Bard is for
yes.
you. You make
If you
Bard
are
S tier,
legit
hands
a
down.
witty, musically inclined or theater inclined person, you can
Mhm.
increase the bard completely.
I
All
really
right, I
wanna
think we've
play
talked
Bard at
about
some
bard
point.
enough here. I think
Yes.
everyone's cool with B. Let's move on to my personal favorite class in D&D, the Cleric. And I'm going to throw it out here. Disagree with me. I think Cleric's an S tier. And the reason Cleric's an S tier, you can literally be a Cleric that does anything. You can be a pure spellcasting Cleric. You can be a battle Cleric that charges into combat and hits shit. You can be a like middle of the road, almost like a Paladin-esque Cleric where you're using your spells to smite your enemies. Yes, they might not have the HP reserves that some of the martial class gets, but depending on the subclass you pick determines the weapons you get, the armors that you can wear. They're such a versatile class. And what's interesting about Cleric is Cleric removing the subclasses is boring as all sin. It's like you get some spells and divine intervention and you can turn undead. Like, okay, whatever. But depending on the subclass you picks determines your Cleric, and a trickery Cleric is 100% different than a Twilight Cleric, which is different than a Death Domain Cleric, which is different than a Light Domain Cleric. So you could almost have a party of Clerics who all have similar abilities, but they all are capable of doing something different and doing it well. My opinion.
I think that's
I agree with you, and I will disagree that it is S.
good. Yeah, I don't think
will
I think they're
say
very versatile, but I don't
that
think
it
they're
is
the
literally
best.
every single letter on this
Yeah.
list. Cleric kind of transcends what we're doing,
Yeah.
specifically because as he was saying, as Ethan was saying, you really you really can't play the same Cleric the same way. It just like some Clerics are just bad. Like some Cleric subclasses are just bad, or like the whatever deity you're like under, like the powers you get are just not very good. And so you could even go as far as say like, oh yeah, that's an E, that's a bad like character class. Only because unlike most of the other classes in D&D, Cleric's one of the only ones where you have to pick at level 1 like what
Unless you want to be.
You
your
and
gun
wizard.
thing is. Exactly, wizard and sorcerer. Like
Oh,
those are the three.
No, sorry, not wizard. Wizard level 2, warlock is level 1.
Yeah, warlock.
Warlock,
So it's just like,
sorcerer, and
it's your
cleric.
path.
you could really just kind of just like be like, eh. So
Let
I
me
say
toss
like
it-
I can't even put it in a.
They do have an
Let
amazing
me
spell
toss
list,
it
though.
this way. Clerics are not a beginner's class.
No.
Clerics
No.
are an
And
advanced
that's the
D&D
only.
player class.
It's the only reason why I put him as A is because we gave Barbarian S because it does exactly no matter what you're picking,
Yes.
it does exactly what it needs to. Cleric can do anything, but I think that's why it's not an S, just because it's not like it wasn't built for something. it can be built for anything. And it's
Anything.
not necessarily a bad thing, but
Yeah.
that's why it's not like the ultimate class. Because like I said, at the end of the day, like you give me Cleric, I'm picking Grave Cleric every day because Grave Cleric is crazy. I love Grave Cleric. But like you said, you throw me into like Trickery Domain Cleric and I'm a little out of my element. It's just like a totally different, entirely different class almost.
Yeah.
You have like
I
Forge
disagree that
Domain,
I
which doesn't
think
really
certain-
get you anything. You just get to wear heavy armor, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I disagree that I feel like
You get
every
fire
like there are
resistance.
really bad cleric subclasses. You just have to know how to play that specific cleric subclass. And like I've played both a Twilight Domain and a Death Domain. I think the Twilight Domain is infinitely better than the Death Domain, but you have to play them so differently from each other that I could literally play a cleric across 5 different games and play a completely different character and have a completely different strategy for my character because I picked a different domain. So I will concede and agree that it can go in A, though personally it's an S for me because I enjoy the sheer versatility of it. I think for an advanced D&D player, that versatility is kind of like a godsend in a way. Like I could have 2 clerics in a party and one hit shit and one heal shit, and like everyone would be like, "Yeah, that's cool." Like I'm. Cool
I also
with it. But
think that people don't play Cleric. Now, asterisk being every Dungeons and Dragons game is however you want to play it. There's no right way or wrong way to do anything. But in my personal opinion, I feel like people should be playing clerics more like warlocks and less like paladins.
Yes.
And people don't.
People
Like
play
they'll
them
be like,
like
"Oh, I'm a
paladins.
cleric," but they'll never mention their deity. They're only in it
True.
for the bits that they
the
get.
spells.
Yes.
And which is why
The spell
I'm like
slots and
A more than S, only because it's just like people leave so much lore on the table when they play a cleric a lot of times, and like we were saying, you could still roll a dud even if it's good, like the Trickery Domain. I mean, you could really just be a different thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, again.
You have to know what you're getting
Yeah.
into with the domain. You could pick a bad domain, like you're like, I want to walk up and whack stuff, and you could pick the light domain and be like, I just heal stuff. That's not what I want to do.
Or war.
I
Like,
trust-
you think war, right? And you think, well, I'm going to be like a fighter, but with like different things. It's like, well, no,
No,
not
fighter's still
really.
gonna do
You're
fighter
still
better
a
than you
cleric.
can.
It's just
Yeah.
you're fighting
But yeah,
better than another
none of the
cleric.
domains are as good as the actual classes that they are representing, which I
Exactly.
agree with that.
That's why I
I
say A.
A. Now, is it A above Artificer or A below Artificer?
Above Artificer. I think
I
it's
say
A
above, I
Ar-
agree.
It's the
Personally, I
closest
think
to
Artificer is
that
a
you
much
can
cooler
get
class
before
than
you
Cleric,
go
so
to
I'm
S.
okay with
Disagree.
that.
I like mechanically A above Artificer. Eric, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. Because again, like you said, it can do almost anything. The only reason I'm not even putting it in S is the barrier of learning. It's like I don't think
There's a lot to
somebody
do.
who just cracked open the player's handbook and just played their
Yeah.
first game, if they pick Cleric, I think they're at a disadvantage.
You're gonna have a tough time.
I mean, there's like
Agreed.
life domain. That's like the only one that is kind of straightforward because that's literally just I heal
I'd say
people.
war. I'd say war domain is the other one where it's just
Yeah.
like you just get an extra attack. Like you're essentially a fighter. Like
With healing
here
spells.
you go.
You're
get
just
some
paladin
spells.
with better healing.
Yeah. So
Ironically,
like,
I've heard some people call certain cleric domains better paladins.
I mean, like, yeah,
Right,
like,
Paladin's
war
not a
I can
domain
buy
very
it.
could
healing
be a
class.
better
either, so.
paladin depending on how you want
Yeah,
to be.
how you want to define a
and how
paladin.
you want to fight it.
It
But yeah,
depends on
I would
the
say
subclass of paladin.
it is the gatekeeper. Cleric is the gatekeeper to S tier. If you're not better than Cleric, then you're not getting in the S tier
I
category.
would agree with that.
it's
The
the
other thing I
best you could
I'll
possibly
knock
do.
and agree to put in A is the cleric spell list. Going through all those spells because
It's
it's
so
like
much.
paladin, you just get all of them right off the
Yes.
bat, basically
Wow.
at your level.
They got a great spell
There is
list, but there's so
So
much.
much
there's so
available
much
to
spread.
you.
Yeah.
Literally in the game I'm playing where I'm the death domain, they'll be like, all right, you long rest. And there's like, and we move on. I'm like, one sec, guys. I have to read through every one of my spells again because I have
Yes.
100,000 of them. And
That's the
I need to know
curve.
what
Yeah.
works for me right in this situation. That
Also, a
we're
lot
going
of
Certainly
through.
pre-planning. Like, all right, what are we going into? Do I need to have like poison
If I were
based?
of all the
anti-spells,
classes
or-
we have up right now, if I were to rank the classes from like very hard to easy, Barbarian is easy, Artificer is like medium, Cleric is very hard, and Bard is like a medium also, I would say.
Bard gives you a lot of
All right,
room.
let's move on to
Agreed.
Druid though. I think we're in agreement with Cleric here. So Druid, I
They're
have
very
a
versatile
controversial
class.
take about Druid, but I will let everyone go first.
I think druids are cool. I think the problem with druid is it really comes down to, so you're playing
you a
Shepherd or
Moon
Moon, right? And that's it. Even though like Spores is really cool, I think just like thematically it's cool, and some of the other ones are really interesting.
Thank you.
But-
Druids have really cool subclasses and then a useful subclass.
Yes.
And that's the problem. Is
Yeah.
all the other ones are super thematic, super roleplay, but you take your whole action to transform.
Your
what's the
mechanics are
point?
just not
Yeah.
there. The mechanics
What's
just
the
I will
don't line
say
up very well.
I'm with Nerdy. He's throwing C. I'm in a C here too. And the reason for me is Druid is a new D&D player trap. It is the I love animals class. If I'm not picking Beastmaster Ranger, which we'll get into that later, it
That
is
is
the
fixed though.
I can turn into a bear. I can turn into a whatever. I'm going to pick Druid. I've never played D&D before. I have no idea how spellcasting works, and I don't understand the mechanics that make Druid complicated. I would say Druid is a hard class to
Yeah.
play. I wouldn't say very
yeah.
hard. It is a hard class to play. So
Well,
you
they
get a
have-
lot of new
they're
D&D
full.
players who jump in as Druid and are just like, I don't know what to do.
I agree.
100%.
I guess I'll turn
They
into a badger and attack him, and that's like the least optimal thing you
100%.
can
You
do.
know,
They have restrictions like on what armor they can wear because they're nature orientated.
Depending
They
on the druid you are too, like people hear druid, I can turn into animals. They're immediately like, I'm a bear. Well, no, you have to be a moon druid to be a bear. But I
Yeah.
also want to be like the fire druid too. Yeah, well, if you're the fire druid, you can only transform into like 1/4 CR enemies, which is like a wolf. That's
It's,
the best.
uh,
1/4
it's a
CR
trap.
enemies
It's a
you've
trap.
seen.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
you've
what I
seen.
do.
Yeah, you've seen exactly. You've seen.
What is
It's a trap, in my opinion.
I
The eighth
okay,
level,
are
you get
super thematic.
by
though.
by level
yeah,
8 for
they're
Druid,
built
you get
in.
CR1 with no restrictions. But
Yeah, and if you're powerful and if you
It's
know what
kinda
you're
rough.
doing, you can make a moon druid like one of the most powerful classes in the entire
they're
game.
insane.
Yeah,
You get
I
the thing where you can just
love
constantly
Moon
wild
Druid.
shape at the end.
hi,
and
I'm a
never,
fire
like,
elemental
die.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been wanting to try the Wildfire Druid just because I've been trying to find like a cool pyrokinetic build, and just like that's just mostly fire. The one thing I will say about Druid was why I put it C, even though I actually enjoy playing them,
Oh, I
Is-
was
Very cool.
is that yeah, like thematically, you have to have a conversation with your DM because you really should have a very different history than anybody else
Yes.
around. You know what I mean? And just like it almost feels like Druid should have their own game, like, and they have their own issues because it's like, unless you're taking a lot of liberties, like, why are you in Waterdeep? Why are you like?
Why are you
in
with the party?
Baldur's Gate?
You care
Why
about
are you with?
you care
this-
about nature. Why do you care about Waterdeep Dragon Heist? Which
Yeah,
is an
like,
urban
yeah, like,
campaign?
Exactly. It's just like you really have to have that conversation ahead of time. I think that the only one that's worth doing is Moon to see shapeshift because you could be a fake tank with that ability.
That's
Like
a
you
lot
can,
of power.
you have a lot of opportunities
And
there.
the spells
I-
you have access to.
And the
is
spells you have
awesome.
access
Such
to,
great
even though
druid
you
spells.
don't really use them if you're a Moon Druid, because you're just using it to heal yourself.
It's
but
the
it's-
Shepherd Druid. That's like the summoning one, right?
Yeah,
That's the one that drops the spirits. That's what I was
Yes.
as Rune Shepherd.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's if that's the one I'm thinking of, the new Tasha's summoning spells, think help escalate that subclass a
Mhm.
little bit.
I think
But
that
I'm
sounds
with
like
Nerdy on
Druid.
this one. In
You
my
gotta
opinion, Moon Druid is that when people think Druid, that's the subclass everyone wants to be. They want to be a
My
Moon
thing
Druid,
is,
so I can
is
turn
in-
into a goddamn Russian bear.
If you're not a Moon Druid, the level that's the thing is everyone else feels so much more powerful and has much more action economy than you do. The first couple of levels, you get to about level 5, and that's when you start to feel like, okay, now I've really entered. Like
Yeah.
I'm in it now. Now I
Yeah.
can summon beasts. Now I can
I
move
do
things on
think
my.
that is an
You can
issue
become
with
a
a lot
bear.
of the heavy spellcasting
base.
classes, though. You really have to get to like level 5 or 6 before you
Yeah, and
really
that- and
start
that's-
feeling
and
the
that should be
gap.
fair because otherwise,
They're
magic
powerful.
root people would be ruling the world.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
powerful.
Every world. So it's like the concept of like it takes a minute makes sense. And then about the last thing I'll say about Moon Druid is I almost say it's like in order to get the most out of it, you really have to multi-class. I know a lot of people don't think that all the way, but in my head it's like once you're the animal that you're trying to be for most of these fights, you can't cast any of those fancy spells you
Nope.
had. You really have to like take your action to cast like Barkskin, and then that's it. And then the rest of your spell slots are used to heal yourself. So it's
Yeah.
just like if you took some time in Monk, some time in Fighter,
Monk
some
Monk
time in
Druid is one of
something
the
that
funniest
doesn't
things you can
require
do.
you to like cast anything to do your bit. Barbarian, the new Barbarian wild shape Barbarian with a
Yes.
moon druid.
Yeah.
Just freaking, I'm a bear. Also, I have a crocodile tail. Like,
Let me
figure this out.
rage. So
Rage
now
as a
my
bear.
wild shape has half
Yeah, like like-
damage or whatever. I don't
yeah,
know.
like
if you can
ate
actually
like a
do that
bunch
in
of like
raw, but-
monster teeth
Probably
and like
can.
hides and stuff. Like all of that is the only reason why I really go with a druid, is to supplement something else that I'm doing, and thematically that's kind of hard to like explain away. So that's why I was saying it's C only because
C.
I like it a lot. But if I was just gonna be super objective, I might even
Yeah.
put it at D.
And it's my
I
thing,
don't
it's
know if
just
I'd put
cool
it
as hell. It's cool.
It's
as
one of the
hell.
coolest
I don't
classes,
know if I
yeah.
could put him at D,
It's very
but I
flavor.
definitely think he's a C on that one. All right, let's move
I
on to
will
Sorcerer.
say really quickly though,
Okay.
it does have a small identity crisis with a lot of the
Or monk,
subclasses.
excuse me.
Because the only real thing you get as you level up in Druid for the core class is wild shape improvements and your subclass.
Mhm.
That's it. And the only thing that really amplifies your wild shape is Circle of the Moon. So, but you take 8 levels into Druid, put your other 12 into Monk, and now you can just walk around as a Kung Fu bear, because you can use your Monk abilities
Kung Fu
as a bear,
Panda.
and you only need to be level 8 Druid to get bear. So
There you go.
There you go.
All right, I said Sorcerer, but let's move on to Monk.
Monk, yeah, I thought it was
Brendan
Sorcerer.
played a monk in our very first campaign. He was the UA
Astral
version
Monk,
of
yes.
the Astral Monk, which is now official in Tasha's, and they have made several
It is
changes
much
for the
better now.
It's much better. I played a monk in a one-shot Eric ran for my birthday last year, and I was a kobold drunken master monk.
which is really fun.
I was Straggles, and I would kill my opponents and then try to eat them. I have also feelings about monk, but I will let you guys go first on
we
this.
also
I will
had
say this
Wesley.
once about Monk. Monk feels like the class that you were playing a game and your little brother walked into the room and says, "I'm bringing this along with me," which is just this crazy like super out there idea that is like way overpowered. I feel monks are just like
They're so strong.
crazy good. They're
Sometimes.
so strong, especially at the
Really?
higher levels.
Yes.
I
I
feel
feel
monks.
like
Do
monks
you
are-
not remember Jax? That dude literally like 1v1 Tiamat for 20
Yeah.
turns and took no damage. He
That's
didn't care
true.
about Tiamat.
Yeah. And then so you literally got like stunning strike on every
Yeah,
turn. You
stunning
get so
strike
many
you
key
can just
points.
use.
Like so many key points. There's so many enemies that are not immune to stun. I feel like you get like monks, and it's not to drag on a little bit too far. I also think monks make every other class better. If you subclass into monk as anything, they make that class better.
You just get so many.
So in
free
terms of the Tiamat
abilities.
thing, since I was running Tiamat there, I opted as Tiamat to not go for Jax. I opted just to go for the rest of the party that was up top on the thing, which I think helped. I don't think Tiamat really ever attacked Jax too.
It's because he
much.
was
He
always
kept
like
running.
underneath the
Yeah,
ledge
but
and out
Tiamat
of
has
sight
like
and stuff.
100 feet fly speed. She could have easily made it over to him if I wanted her
Well, he
to.
still also has unarmored defense and the reflex to just take half damage and all elemental hits and stuff.
Me, like I said, it feels like somebody else introduced a character. Like I'm gonna be an OP
Yeah.
person in this game.
I-
If it wasn't
I
originally
disagree.
engineered.
I think Monk is low. I think their subclasses.
I
are-
think Monk
are
is just
subpar.
absurd. I think Astral Monk on Earth Arcana
If I
was
wanted
really
to play
bad.
a martial, if I
But
wanted
I
to play
think
a
Monk
martial
is so
class
good.
and be better, I would be a fighter, in my opinion.
Wrong.
No, I
You are
I think
incorrect.
Monk is
I think
so much
Cobalt
better than
Soul
Fighter.
is so good. Yeah.
As
You
someone
are
who has played
incorrect, my
2
friend.
fighters,
I'm just wrong.
Monk is
All right,
so
I'll
much
be
better
wrong
than
on this
Fighter.
one.
Hurry
Monk
blows,
You
is-
think Monk is
stunning
better than
strike.
Fighter?
Yeah,
I think okay.
you
I
can
think that
attack
Monk
way
is
more
better
in a
than
turn
Fighter.
with Monk than Fighter and
You
dish
think
out
Monk-
more
I-
damage.
That things that
I
Fighter
think
can do,
Fighter
but
is-
better.
Yeah, Monk
think
literally does
Fighter-
Fighter
Your
better than
fists are
Fighter. a lot of
magic
the time.
weapons.
Okay, I'm going to bring this up then. Let's
Your
look at
fists are
Brendan's
magic
character,
weapons.
Joseph Kaijo,
Yes.
who could barely hit anything and did like
I
3 damage at level 18, while everyone is popping like 20 to 40 damage per hit.
However, keep in mind, that was an Earth Arcana Astral Monk, which is way worse than official Astral Monk. If we
It's
played it
true.
now, it would be way better. But also,
I think a
Astral
fighter
is honestly
better
kind
than
of just
Monk.
a bad Monk subclass, in my opinion. It's not one of
But-
the better ones. It's definitely not 4 elements.
Monk
but we don't
also
talk
has
about
one
4
of the worst
elements.
subclasses in the game as the 4 elements monk or whatever it's called, which is just universally considered like maybe the worst subclass in the game,
It's
with the
really
exception
bad.
of old Beastmaster.
But I think Monk is very powerful. You get so
Yeah,
many
I
attacks.
think,
For
I
me-
think
for
stunning,
me, for
stunning
fighter-
strike and flurry of
Yes.
blows, man, like that is bread and
Yes,
butter.
those
like
are
DM
good.
hateful.
those
And
are
that's just
good, but
core.
for
That's not even
fighter,
subclass, but that is
there are
just
so
monk.
many aspects between the feats that you can get as fighter, between the subclasses you can take as
No.
fighter that make you better than monk.
No.
I think
Sorry.
monk is
You
way
can
guys
take
are
a
better.
fighter-
lunch
A
on this.
fighter, okay, a level 20 monk versus a level 20 fighter. The level monk, the monk wins.
Every
Every
single
time.
time.
Every
Yeah,
fight.
I don't know
Every
about that.
time.
I
Every
do.
time.
Almost
100%.
almost every subclass, with the exception of the element one, is gonna beat that
Bonkers.
fighter
Yeah.
up.
And like I
Alright,
said, I
well,
also
I
think
can't-
as the multi-class, I think if you take that aspect, I think multi-classing into monk, no matter what other class
Yes.
you are, is like
it's a
is
bonus.
just crazy.
Yeah. All
Now,
of like
thematically,
all of the
again,
core monk
I
abilities are
will
just so
argue
good.
that a lot of people jump into monk without taking the necessary storyline elements that
They
I
want to
feel
be
like.
Aang because they want to be
Yeah.
Aang.
They want to be
That's-
Yeah,
Aang,
like
they want
Bruce
to be
Lee.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, if you want to be like Batman is more of a fighter that just dicks some monk dips than like a real monk would be like someone like Iron Fist or Shang-Chi or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like someone who
Bruce
took the
Lee.
time. You know what I mean? So but still, we haven't even talked about the Shadow Monk, which I feel like gets skipped a lot. And the fact that you just
Actually,
get like
pretty
a
good.
free bonus action teleport in
That is
darkness.
good.
It's one
is
of the most stupid
ridiculous.
things.
Darkness happens
Every day.
half of the whole
Yeah,
day.
half of every day.
Where would you guys rank monk then?
I think
A.
monk is A or S, honestly.
I'd say A.
I will not put him in S.
I'd say A.
I wouldn't put him. I put him in B, honestly, just because I don't think he's better
Spicy.
than the Artificer or the Cleric.
I
I
think
think
he's
he's
better
better
than
than the
both.
Bard. I will give you. He's better than Bard. I would not say he's better than Artificer or Cleric.
I'd say he's better than both.
I would
I,
say,
I honestly, I kind of would.
Why
I'd
would
say
you
he's
say
better than Artificer. I won't say that a monk is better than.
The Cleric is such a more utility class.
Yeah, I would say that.
And better. How I feel is the monk can be replaced by rogue or fighter. You can't replace your Cleric.
That's why I agree. That's why
But
I'm
think
saying that.
Artificer is still better than monk. I think people get trapped in monk.
I
think
They're
they-
not
Yeah,
trapped.
yeah.
They're staying there because it's good.
I think they
They
get
like
hit like 8
Who-
times. But what
Who
they don't
doesn't
realize
want
is
to
their
be
hits
able to
are
just
for,
run
like,
up a
2 damage.
wall?
Nah, dude. You get so many other cool stuff.
Yeah.
Ba 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 ba.
Literally
ba,
I
ba,
swinging
think
for
I
like
think monk
6d10 every
I
I
turn
would put,
for
if
free.
if this was my list on its own, monk would be in D, in my opinion.
Like
Wow.
straight at 6d10 a turn. It's magic.
Almost-
You can't do anything
Tell us,
about it.
tell us you DM a lot without telling us
Yeah.
you DM a lot.
I'm
You say you
almost a
hate
forever
monk.
DM. Okay, so I'm basing this on 2 characters. I'm basing this on Brendan's character that, no offense, Brendan, wasn't
No,
very good.
I
and
agree.
Draggle,
Joseph was not
which
great.
was level 3 and also wasn't pretty good. But looking over the
Jax was great. Yeah, Jax was
Jax
amazing.
was good. Oh, wait, Jax was good too. But
Jax did a
I'm sorry, I
great
forgot
job
about Jax.
representing Monk as a powerful
Yeah, it was
class.
just-
I don't like monk. All right,
He
let's
came
move on
in,
to fighter.
did
You guys-
damage,
We'll move on.
got out.
I say
you guys
A.
win.
We
You
said
guys
A.
will win this
No.
one. So
Hey,
fighter.
I put it in the middle of A
Yeah.
between Artificer and Cleric for now.
All right.
Fighter.
Literally the most boring but versatile class in D&D because all you get
I
are
love-
ability score
Don't
improvements and that's
think that
it.
fighters are boring.
I've
I
played
love-
multiple.
I don't think fighters
I
are
think
boring either.
boring.
Fighters are the most versatile class. You get like a
You
bajillion
just said that
options.
about Cleric.
They can't all
I
be the
think
most
they're both
versatile.
versatile.
They are
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
fighters are versatile, but having
Cleric
played
is
two,
versatile
ugh,
for its actual class components. Fighter is versatile for all just the random extra shit that you can take when you level up. I mean, it's like, oh, I get another ability score improvement. Give me the Sentinel feat. I'll take this feat. I'll take this feat if you don't want to level up
Yeah.
your actual stats.
So let me. I'm gonna say something. This is controversial to people who make like D&D like characters off of like fictional characters. I think that Daredevil is a fighter with the
Yeah.
the blind fighting.
blind
I
fighting,
agree. I agree.
and then unarmed attacks like as its secondary. Like
I agree.
and that's why I tell people like I don't think fighter is boring. I think fighter is a very interesting class. Is that like like I'm not a barbarian. I'm not like somehow impervious to damage. I'm not a monk where I get to do like all these like semi magic stuff with my body. It's just like I'm gonna run up and I'm gonna just be the human in this world that is just going to slash at the bad
the
guy.
learned master, somebody who just
Yeah.
who studied sword fighting their whole lives and just became a master at it.
Sokka
Even
is a
now-
fighter.
Even now with the introduction of like the Rune Knight and the Sign Knight from Tasha's, fighters are becoming even more like magical.
There are definitely some
inclined
more
with their
fun subclasses for
abilities.
sure.
You had Eldritch Knight, which was kind of like a half fighter,
God.
half caster, focusing more
I
on
have
fighter.
opinions on
for
Eldritch
me-
Knight.
For me, a fighter has so many possibilities. If I were to take Cleric and Fighter, I both said they're very versatile classes. Fighter is the class that I be where I want to be versatile and hit shit. Cleric is the class I want to be where I want to be versatile and cast spells.
Yes, correct.
And if you, depending on how you build your fighter, you can do like if you do 2-weapon fighting, you can at later levels you can do like 6 attacks per turn.
I am going to go and say that a fighter is. I'm gonna say fighter is A.
I agree.
Very
I think
beginner
fighter is
friendly
A.
a lot of the time. A lot of the
I think
subclasses
fighters
aren't
A.
particularly difficult to pick
I
up.
know we're putting most stuff in A right now. But
I mean,
think
a lot of the
fighter
classes
is
are just
also
good.
A.
That's the thing. Especially after
I
Tasha's.
would put him below Cleric and above Monk, but that's not gonna
No,
happen.
he's going
I would
behind the
put him
monk.
above. I would put above
Yeah,
Artificer.
the argument here is it better than Artificer?
Yes, and I would say
think
it is.
Fighter is
That's the
better than
debate.
Monk still,
Yeah.
but
I would say it's better than Artificer. It's not better than Monk. It's holding that bronze medal real tight.
I will say though, some of the subclasses though for fighter are just really bad.
Yeah,
Like
Like
one?
purple dragon knight's just nothing.
okay, yes, Purple Dragon Knight is
honestly,
universally
Especially
hated.
having played an Eldritch Knight, I would rather just be College Sword Bard. They get better and
Yeah.
easier spellcasting with like you just scale so slowly on Eldritch Knight.
Again, I think it goes more of, are you looking more to cast spells or are you looking more to hit shit?
I mean, if you're picking Eldritch Knight, you're going for sword and
you wanna-
sorcery, and
My
that's
thing is if
Bard.
you're gonna fight and want to catch spells, just be a warlock. Like,
Yeah,
at the
Warlock
end of the
or-
day,
or
just
College
gonna
of Sword
actually
Bard.
do the
Warlock
one
at this
thing.
point.
Yeah. I think that like Battle Master is the most fun
Yeah,
for
it's
just
very
being a
Battle Master
fighter.
is amazing.
For
You just have
just
to
being
do
a
things.
fighter. Like you like because then you do get some of the stuff that Monk gets, like the tripping
superior-
and the
yeah,
and
and the
tripping,
pushing.
sure,
and
dies.
the-
superiority dies are great.
But
Yeah.
some of those, by the way, you can use with ranged weapons, like tripping shot or tripping attack.
Yeah.
You can use it on range. It doesn't specify melee. You can shoot somebody
That's
with
the
a
other
tripping
thing I
shot.
really like about Fighter
really fun.
compared to, say, Monk. Monk is beneficial to using, unless you do whatever the class is
Tensei.
that takes the weapon. You're
Tensei,
you're
yeah.
generally
Tensei takes
a unarmed strike thing. I feel like what's really cool about Fighter is you can do swords, bows, axes, like any pole arms, get the range. You can do any breadth of weapons.
It is the
It feels,
definition of I am playing a martial class.
yeah, it is. It is a very versatile martial class.
A lot of fun building you can do with it. But I think just from a conceptual standpoint of like the lore of fighters, it's pretty much just I studied the
Yeah,
blade.
you're-
Yeah.
Well, you went to Wizard College, I studied
the blade.
It's left to be desired.
The Fighter is
There's not a lot
probably
of roleplay there.
in my opinion, the next easiest class to give someone that's not Barbarian, because you can give them Champion Fighter and you don't need to do too
You
much.
literally
just need to
have like
remember
no
their
abilities
passive
other than
ability.
action
You need to remember their
surge.
passive.
And
That's
it.
really the hardest part, is to remember all your abilities are passive at that point, and it's easy to forget those things.
Oh, do you
but-
like
all
that
right,
on the
I
19 now?
I will again concede, I guess Fighter will go below Monk, but I know I'm not winning that fight, so.
No, Monk is so good. Monk is a great class. Honestly, Monk is literally like.
Let's move on from
I
how
know,
great Monk
but
is.
genuinely, I think Monk is literally one of the most broken, one of the most powerful classes in D&D
I
as far as
totally
the
agree
balance
with
is
you,
concerned.
Brendan.
Right next to it, Warlock.
Paladin.
I love Paladin's my favorite class personally. I just love the
I
concept
like
of Paladins.
Paladins. I think Paladins,
Paladins
much
are a
like
little
Druid,
weak.
are a trap.
I don't think Paladins are as much of a trap. I think Paladin has a lot of
I think they're less trappy
ability,
than Druid, but I think
because you got like Conquest, which is always really fun. You got Redemption's pretty cool to play for a role playing thing. Vengeance is just great. I'm going to kill things.
I was gonna say, let's face the facts though. Most people who play Paladin, a lot of them want to play a Vengeance Paladin.
Yeah,
They see the
Vengeance
sheer amount of damage you can do in a single turn, and they think that. Now, granted, you're gonna blow your damage load in like a turn or two, and then you're just hitting stuff for normal damage
They are a
until you hit
bomb,
higher
though.
levels. Is that a D? Is it terrible to say I'm in
Man.
agreement with you on that one? I think a Cleric's a better
I
Paladin.
I
to be
think
perfectly
Paladin is
honest.
an
Absolutely,
A.
absolutely. I don't see use in Paladin. There's never been a time where I was drawn to play a Paladin, and I can't say that about any other class.
It is the most like. It
You
is
really
so
have to
boring.
want Paladin to play Paladin, I think. Because I
boring
I
class.
love Paladin.
I I know 5e is expanded beyond this, but I do feel like paladins get pigeonholed into how they roleplay too. It's like, oh, you're a paladin, you have to be lawfully good. And like I said, I know 5e has done away with a lot of that stuff, but
Yes.
it's still in the forefront of everyone's mind
Yeah.
when they play the
And
stupid
also,
lawful paladin.
The reality is, though, it's just like, again, every way you want to play is fine, but it's just like thematically, where are you getting this magic from? And that to me is just like, in and of itself, it's just like everybody is serious of their conviction. Like you saying, well, I'm a paladin, so I'm super serious. It's like, well, this druid is super serious too. You know what I mean? Like, this barbarian really means that he's gonna punch you in the face. They're really, if this barbarian girl is gonna hit you, she's gonna hit you. So it's just like, for me to think that this paladin gets super magic for being really, really good at keeping promises, that just seems like a really dumb thing. So I don't like paladins for that reason. Just play a fighter, be okay with being a little more mortal, and have a more interesting character than play a paladin and just be like, I'm super god, let me hit this thing really hard.
I agree there. I think you can play some cool paladin
There are plenty
characters,
of
but
local paladins out
I
there.
think
Obviously,
people
there's
fall,
always
again.
exceptions.
I think people build into the traditional. This is what a paladin is, and what I will be. And I'm with you, nerdy. I think a paladin is unfortunately a D.
They're
I
the
think
ultimate multi-class. Like, everybody always dips into pally. That's
Yeah.
the thing. You see a rogue
People like to
paladin, a warlock
honestly, like a
paladin,
warlock paladin combo is
Hexblade
awesome, but
Venge
we're not-
Pally is one of the
Yeah.
most
Yeah, we're not
disgusting
ranking based
things.
on multi-class,
Yeah.
though. We're ranking based
Because
on
you get
that. I think it's
Hexblade, you
correct.
smite them on your crits,
I
they just
I just think
explode.
it's
I
lame.
might, if Brendan's really hard on it, I might be okay moving it to C, but under Druid.
I
D.
mean, if
I
everyone's
think-
voting
Eric, I'll let
D,
you-
Hard.
How
I
do
know.
you feel?
Me, you, and Matt align on this one. It's a
D,
D.
that D it is then.
if I had my way, I'd put it in A because I love Paladin for the flavor.
If I had
and what
my
it
way,
is,
Monk would be
but-
in D, so we don't
Well,
get our
your way is
Brendan.
wrong, so
Your way is wrong.
well, I mean, with three of
Only
us
me,
saying,
only
Ranger.
me and Matt. Only me and Matt are right.
Yep.
Yeah,
So Ranger.
true.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
Ranger.
divisive. But now
I
that Tasha's is out,
thematically-
this class is great.
I thematically love Ranger. I think Ranger in the player handbook sucks. I think Ranger starts getting better once you introduce Xanathars and Tasha's.
They fixed Beastmaster too.
The
Well,
fact that you have to publish redactions to make a class viable to me is just...
Beastmaster is, in my opinion, the ultimate trap class. I get a cool animal companion. In OG Beastmaster, you suck. You just straight up suck. You have awful action economy. It doesn't make sense. Tasha's fixes all that,
Yes,
obviously.
it's much better now. It's actually a solid class now.
I am going to say this, though. Matt is playing a Ranger. Matt does a shit ton of damage compared to the party at low levels right now. I think Rangers are actually a really good low-level class. I think they scale bad.
They're half casters, so what do you expect? But
super interested in the
In-
Draco Ranger.
in
I think
fairness,
it's a great idea.
yeah, the Drake Ranger.
But-
In fairness to Matt too, he's not really using any of his subclass stuff. That's all core Ranger abilities
Yeah, it's
that are
true.
allowing him
That's
to do
true.
absurd. Rangers have always been strong. It's just their subclasses were terrible and didn't do anything that were
But I
beneficial.
think their subclasses have definitely improved. I like
Yes.
Matt's the Fey Wanderer, and I think Fey Wanderer is an excellent subclass.
What is it? I played one of them too in the,
Hit us with the
in the
truth,
one shot.
man. Hit us with the
Yeah,
truth.
I'm waiting for
I
his hand
played.
signal.
What did I play? I played Swarmkeeper, and Swarmkeeper, although kind of strange,
Rangers.
it's a very fun one.
Wait, what? What did you
F.
say?
Rangers. F for Rangers.
just-
Rangers get an F.
I
But-
disagree. Rangers.
No,
get
I think
that.
Rangers are very, very good.
I think
Rangers are a. I think Rangers were a D or an F in PHB. I think with the publish of Xanathars and the publish of Tasha's, Rangers have respectively moved themselves up to a C or a low B.
Just be a
What's his
Fey
name?
Pack Warlock. Don't be a Wanderer. It's so lame. You can get all the dual character elements that you want, and you don't have to do that stuff.
I do feel though that I know we're ranking some of this stuff based on role playing, but if you have a creative person, they can turn any of these
Ranger-
into classes.
that's
Ranger-
it.
Yeah,
That's
Asterisk
true with
with
anything.
everything.
That's true with
Asterisk
anything.
Yeah,
with
all of the
everything.
classes are amazing
Yeah.
for roleplay, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Ranger,
Like, yes.
Ranger really
If
opens it up a lot,
Superman
too.
played basketball, he'd beat everybody. Yeah,
That's
like
true.
yeah, we're all aware of that bit. But I'm saying like just the character thing in itself, it's basically just like a fighter
If the fighter with spells.
with spells, and
It's
there are
fighter with
better
druid spells.
classes that do that. Like
It does
yeah,
have an identity crisis as well as a class.
Yeah,
with its
Rangers-
subclasses. But I still
There's
think
never been a ranger.
Core
think
ranger
they're
is still very
a
solid.
B or a low B. I think they do a decent damage output up to about level maybe like 9 or 10. Then obviously spellcasters will start knocking them out of the park.
Let's say
But
F.
Her spell list is okay as well.
I
They got
think
some
I think
cool
the
ones, but
Gloomstalker and the Horizon Walker from Xanathars are pretty
some
awesome
people.
subclasses.
I guess that's true.
I think the ones introduced in Tasha's, the Fey Wanderer and the Swarms
Spellkeeper's really cool.
Ranger are really, really cool and very thematic and can definitely add to that role-playing aspects. And they fixed Beastmaster in Tasha. I mean, if we're looking at if we're ignoring Tasha's, then yeah, I agree with you. Throw Ranger in F or D, because the Monster Hunter is the smart subclass to take, and then you're just trapping yourself with Beast Hunter. And how many people have been trapped by Beast Hunter in the OG stuff?
Because I didn't even
A
want to
ton
do
of
that.
people. Anyone who sees that they can have a dog companion is
Just
trapped
be a
by
dog.
Beast.
You could just be a druid and have a dog.
C.
Like you could just. They even put that
You
in
say
there
D,
now.
Aaron?
That
I said C. If that's the lowest you're willing
C.
to go, Ethan, I say C.
I say C as well.
I'd say C
but
to D
under
personally.
Druid.
I think Rangers are,
I
are
say C
solid.
under Druid.
I will say, there has been many arguments that people have made in favor of Ranger, stating that as far as core Ranger abilities and the class itself, Mr. Aragorn would be a Ranger.
yeah,
He's a
probably.
Ranger.
Yeah.
Arguably, they even said the Mandalorian would be considered
Yeah.
a Ranger
Yeah.
too.
Okay, so I would say like if we could have more like cool.
Kind of proving
shit,
that there are cool
I
Rangers
think
out there.
that the Mandalorian's an artificer, but like we'll
People
have.
said that because of his guns and stuff, but he seems more like the bounty hunter Ranger. Because I was with you, and then I watched the video that broke it down, and I was like, wow, I was wrong. I'll have to see if I can find that and send that to you, Matt. It'll maybe change your mind.
There's some.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I mean, yeah. Like, I think that I got excited about the Horizon Walker Ranger. I almost was like, well, I'll try this out. But like, again, that has a lot to do with your campaign. If you pick the Feywild Archer, the Ranger guy, and your game has nothing to do with the Feywild, then you're just a weird guy, and you could have done something else. You know what I mean?
I will agree. There are a lot of abilities, especially in Horizon Walker, where if you're not dealing with that aspect of the world, you are kind of useless. Like,
You're
I can
just
find a interdimensional plane 100 yards from me or miles from me or whatever. It's like, cool, no one
Okay.
cares because we're not doing anything with that.
Yeah,
there are no
like, I do
interdimensional
agree with that.
planes.
But the Gloomstalker Ranger, people have said, is a better rogue assassin.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's what you do is hunt things at dark. I would say, however, that you know what's better than that? Freaking teleporting ninja that can just come into your house and beat the shit out of you in total silence and then leave without anyone ever knowing that you were there.
That's a monk for all you don't know
Yes.
who he's
Yeah.
referencing.
Yeah,
He is
that
referencing
Monk.
Shadow
That is
Monk.
the Shadow Monk.
Literally, though, man. Monk
I
is so
agree.
strong.
I say that
Guys,
in my head, you have assassin rogue that are just like, that's what people think about when they think of assassins. And what assassins think about when they think of assassins are the Gloomstalker Rangers. And then what they think about when they think of
It's
assassins
Shadow
are
Monk.
these
Are the Shadow Monks?
that
Shadow Monks
show
are
up
so ridiculous.
and kill you like the will of Yahweh.
All right, are we
one
cool
final
with
thing
Ranger
on
where it is?
Ranger.
Fine, I'll keep it at C.
I think a lot of
Everyone's got
people
one they don't like.
always forget Ranger is not a pure archery class. You can play melee Ranger
No, you
just
can.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
can be a
can.
melee
There's a
Ranger.
lot of
Yeah.
great abilities for Ranger for melee. A lot of
Correct.
a couple of subclasses are
Yeah,
very
they
good
get
for it.
pigeonholed into like an archer because all the pictures show them with bows.
Yeah,
and you
whatever.
never-
And
Yeah.
it's
in
called
their
the
name.
Ranger.
Range is
Yeah.
literally in
Yes,
their
yes,
name.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
everyone
so
assumes they have to
can
be
really be.
a bow, but no, you don't have to be a bow. You can walk up with a big sword.
Rangers can also completely break your campaign as a DM if you like have all the survival shit in there, and they're like, like if you're playing like the Icewind Dale campaign and you know it, and you're like, I'll be a ranger, and my favorite terrain is like the Arctic or like the snowy areas. You're like, well, you find food and you can't get lost, and
Yeah,
so
yep.
it can sort of break like the fun roleplay elements, but it is a decent ability if you're.
But mind
and,
you, you
as
can
a
always
DM,
take
If
the
it's one of those
Outlander
things you care
feats
about doing as a
background.
DM, it's
If you
fun.
take the
It is.
Outlander background, you get all of that stuff just as
Yeah,
your
do you?
background.
Definitely
So-
not fair.
All right, well, let's move on to the rogue here because it's almost 10:30.
Yes. Ooh, yes.
Rogue is fun.
So rogue. Oh, rogue used to be my favorite subclass. I also have opinions about a rogue. I actually think rogues are massively okay.
I think
I would
sneak
put
attack is
rogues
busted,
in
and that's it.
B.
I think sneak
B.
attack is phenomenal, and you see the the dice you get to roll, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, you crit
There
sneak
are a
attack for
lot
like
of
30 d6,
not
and you laugh at
good
everything.
Rogue
And that's it.
subclasses.
You do that once.
Yeah.
Swashbuckler, baby.
Swashbuckler is really fun.
Swashbuckler. Okay, so I would say
In fairness, though, Swashbuckler
Arcane
plays like a
Trickster-
fighter and not a rogue.
It's
Yeah,
so
Arcane
much
Trickster-
fun.
Swashbuckler and what's the one from Tasha they just did where you suck the soul into the jet?
Oh, that one's
Phantom,
fun too.
Phantom.
Yeah, Phantom's really, really cool
Phantom.
flavor-wise.
Those seem all really, really enjoyable. Ones that aren't so hot: Thief, Assassin.
No, Thief is great.
Excuse you. I'm
I
kicking
disagree.
ass.
As
You are
Wesley is
kicking
over here
ass,
being
but
a thief.
I am letting you cheat because technically you can't use potions as a bonus action. They are a
You
magical
can.
item, not a right. You can't.
With
There
fast
is a-
hands. It just says it doesn't specify anything other than with fast hands, you can use your bonus action with your cunning action to use a sleight of hand check to use your thieves tools, or take the use an object interaction.
They're not an object. They are a
Magic
magical
item.
item. There is actually a thing where someone asked the Wizards of the Coast bro about it, and he said you are not allowed to do that. I think it's stupid, so I'm letting Matt do it because I think it's a stupid ruling. But
That's why you
in
have the hero's
actual,
kit, which is
in
the
actual,
bomb.
yes. In actual raw, you can't technically use a potion.
But still, you can still do a whole bunch
It
of
is-
extra shit
Yeah,
with
there's
it.
still a
I-
whole
You
lot
still
of
have your
items with
action,
it.
and you have
I
your
think
bonus
that's great
action.
I think that's great for Thief. I think their other abilities are trash.
You get to
Like
climb.
I think that is actually a good ability.
you
Climb
get,
speeds
a,
are
you get a
great.
free climbing speed. That's great for like most things.
If
Especially if
you
you're using
climb.
crossbow.
walls.
Yeah, if you're using a crossbow, you're a lot of times you're just out of the way.
In my opinion, that's about as useful as the Horizon Walker's ability to teleport themselves to.
There's
Horizon
always
planes.
something to climb. There's never always a portal to a different plane of existence.
I think Thief is. I wouldn't say it's bad. I would never say Thief is bad.
How,
I think
how do you feel about
Assassin's
Mastermind?
bad.
Mastermind's a fun one,
Mastermind is
actually.
interesting. I don't think it works the way that they necessarily want it to work.
I love Mastermind.
Same with Inquisitor. I think is the other one. I think Inquisitor might be the worst subclass.
I don't
of
like Inquisitor. I think that's really
Yeah, I
bad.
don't like Inquisitor. I think Mastermind is okay. If I were to
I think
rank them, in
Assassin's
my
good.
opinion,
Assassin's very powerful.
I don't think I actually don't think Assassin is that great because you see their assassination thing. If you actually read it and apply it, you really only get that assassinate thing. You might maybe get it. It's a very limiting thing that gives it to you. Because technically you get it on surprise, but how surprise rules work,
Yeah.
if you read them raw, it's actually really difficult to get assassinate.
Yeah. So that's why I said like assassins in the rogue assassins in the game would be like what regular humans think assassins are, because regular people walking around aren't expecting to get stabbed. And so like they're just like, haha, I stabbed you and now I'm away. But like once you get into like fighters and like people who fight for a living and like do magic and stuff, random guy isn't gonna give you a whole lot of like, they're gonna know you're in there. So like that's actually like the lowest level of the rogue to me, is the assassin or the
I agree. I
inquisitor.
think the
'cause the Inquisitor
I think the Inquisitor is worse than the Assassin, but I think it's Assassin. and
To be fair though, with
Inquisitor-
Assassinate,
or
you
Inquisitor
do
than
get
Assassin.
the Assassinate bonus if you attack before the creature goes. So,
Yes.
especially with my Arcane Archer, because I had such an easy time going first, if I opted for Assassin, my first shot every combat, as long as I go before something, free crit right away with advantage. And then I get sneak attack on top of it for free.
Right.
All for one turn.
Yeah, and that's it's,
That's
again,
one turn.
it's what your move
that's
is.
the first
I've
turn.
created a creature. I created a character that was the whole thing is that yeah, he's a sniper. He goes from really far away,
Yep.
shoots a bow, kills a thing, and that's he's not designed to fight people like a lot. You're an assassin.
Yeah, you
You're
kill
hired
something
to
and leave.
do a job and then leave. Assassin doesn't really fit itself well to a ongoing party with monsters and things, which leads me to my one thing I'll say about rogues that I feel like is not in the rules or anything, but I feel like it really should be, is that sneak attack should not work on things that you've never seen before. Like,
'Cause you
in my
should know their
opinion-
weak points.
yeah, like in my opinion, if you're a rogue, you're running up to something like a ooze or something. Well, I sneak attack the ooze. How? Like, how do you know where this ooze is weak pointed? How do you sneak attack a stone golem? It's just it's just made of stone. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like you
I
cutting
get
the
it
Achilles
mechanically because
leg,
they're trying to scale
That's
for
very
damage and
blanket.
stuff, but
and
I
that's
do
why.
understand. I do understand what your point is.
So like,
there.
so for
I
me, it's
can
always
get
just like,
I
I'm
can
just
get
kinda
more on
like,
board with it
whatever.
if they're like fighting another enemy and you're like, oh, because they're fighting and distracted,
Yes.
you kind of come around and you hit them in a spot where they're not looking, so you get a better stab or something.
Yeah.
But I
So it's like
I
it's
agree with
something
you
that the
there.
game is giving people who want to play rogue, not because it makes sense for the character, but because they want people to play this class. The sneak attack to me seems very game. It takes me out of the game every time I hear about it because it's just like
I put Rogue in B under Bard.
I would put it under bar. I put it in C, but that's me.
You put it in C? I put it in C too, actually. I mean, maybe a high. Would you put it over Druid and Ranger?
Yeah, I would put. I'd put it over Ranger.
I would either go.
not
I would
Druid.
either go B under Bard or C.
only because it's Swashbuckler.
Yeah,
Swashbuckler
Swashbuckler's so
is really good. Actually,
I
Arcane
like
Trickster is
Mastermind.
really good.
I will
Mastermind
say
can be fun.
Mastermind's really fun if you plan on being support
Yeah.
or the face of a party. Then you could actually have a lot of fun with that, but you just have to be resigned to being very squishy and not
My
the
only
person that does a
counter
lot of
argument to
stuff.
Mastermind is I feel like at that point just play Bard. You get all the spells to help you do all that stuff, and it's even easier for you because you already naturally want your charisma.
Art charisma.
Yeah. Again, it's like if you want to be a mastermind, not a front person, but like I'm the Ocean's 11 to this crew of people. Mastermind is great.
Yeah.
Because you could get that bonus help action, and you can just shout things from wherever.
Which is always really, really fun. Free advantage for your party members is stupid.
Yep. So, C in my mind.
Sorcerer.
I think Sorcerer's a shittier wizard.
I think Sorcerer is easier wizard. It's wizard without the work.
I would say if there's one thing in Sorcerer I prefer over Wizard, it's the fact that you just kind of naturally learn spells, which is nice and easier. One thing I don't particularly, I'll be honest, this is me personally, I'm not a huge Wizard or Sorcerer fan. Like if I'm a player,
I like Wizard.
I would probably play another spellcaster over these two. I think Wizards they're too difficult to gather up their spells, and they're kind of bland, even if you pick your different, we'll get to them later. I like some of the flavor stuff with Sorcerer. I think meta magic is really cool if you know how to use it properly. If you don't know how to use it properly, it's a useless class feature. I would say I would put it more in the advanced category for like spellcaster. Oh, I put all the spellcasters in a higher category of play anyways, but I don't think Sorcerer is bad. Me saying I think it's a shittier wizard doesn't mean I'm like F tier for Sorcerer, but I'd probably toss it in B.
I love sorcerers.
You love sorcerers,
and I agree. Like I love sorcerers. I almost play them every time I play.
Yeah,
they are fun for me, but because I came up during 3.5, so like I'm just like I'm my like 5e is like a second language to me. Like I'm learning a lot of this stuff as we go along, so it's not too hard for me to get to a lot of that stuff. So I'm big into sorcerer. I think wild magic sorcerer is one of the most fun things you could do. It's silly and stupid and really
I'm
not
a plant
helpful.
now.
Yeah,
Have
really
fun,
not
guys.
helpful. I would
Okay, I'll let you finish.
Although mechanically, wild magic
encourage
doesn't come up
you
enough.
Mechanically,
to talk to if you want to play a wild magic sorcerer. Check what kind of game you're playing first. If it's super serious, talk to your DM about like maybe making a different chart for you. There are charts that are out there that are a little bit more serious. Yeah,
that aren't as silly as I've become a potted plant for the next
exactly.
minute.
But I like the concept of that. I also am of the camp that I think that sorcerer should be a constitution based class and not a charisma based class, because you are genetically magical, and charisma is not something that you genetically would have. I feel like it would be like constitution. Like I just myself creates the mana that makes the magic. So intuitively, it should be that. But I mean, like it isn't. So just be a bard, I guess.
I jump off of Ethan's point too. Is wild magic sorcerer is great to play. I think it puts way too much onus on the DM to have to manage when to roll, when this person has to roll on the wild magic table.
I wouldn't even say on the DM, because I think it's if they cast a
Every
spell,
time they
have to
cast a
roll
spell, they have to roll
a
if they're gonna
D20.
do
If it's a
something.
1, then
Yeah.
they have to roll on the wild
Right.
magic.
Yeah.
It
But
really
then
should be up
there's
to the
also
player.
if they give themselves an advantage, they also have to roll on the
Yes.
table too, and it's up to you
Yes.
to remember
Yeah.
whether or not that.
Yeah, I remember I forgot like a million times when Matt, because I just started DMing 5e at that point when Matt was playing his wild magic sorcerer, and I was like, oh yeah, we forgot to have you roll like 6 times to see if you rolled on your table. And if you forget that and he doesn't roll on the table, you're
Yeah, they just like you're just doing a thing. But there
Yeah.
are other really interesting sorcerers out there.
I like the
Like-
Dragon Blood sorcerer
Dragon
a
Blood-
lot. I think it's
Divine
cool.
magic
Divine
sorcerer
Soul?
is awesome.
Clockwork
You
Soul.
basically are a cleric, and you can
Yeah.
pretend to be a cleric. You can start off your party making them think you're a cleric, and they literally will have no way to know until
That
you
is a
start doing
very
some crazy
cool-
stuff. It is
Yeah.
really, really neat.
The only downside of that is not only you get all the sorcerer spells, you get all the cleric spells, so you can kind
You
of
have
pigeonhole
so
yourself.
much-
You can super fuck yourself in taking the wrong spells and be like, oh.
Now, I like the clockwork one.
I love Clockwork.
I've been
It's
been
so
building
cool.
a-
I
I've been
really want to play
building the
one.
Clockwork Soul one because it's at first glance you're like, ooh, that's not very cool. You just take away advantage or disadvantage on things, and that's how you start. But like as you continue to move forward, like you have a lot of really cool things
It's
you
really
can do to
sick
people.
abilities.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You basically just couldn't tell people no, that didn't.
Yeah,
count.
it is
Oh,
the
yeah.
no, you don't get to play the game sorcerer.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, they all have advantage over you because it's dark vision or something. You're like, nope, no, they don't. And so now suddenly the wizard that cast darkness, thinking that they were going to be in a good spot, suddenly all of their allies are just as shit as everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, like that's it evens the playing field and allows for your other party members to do well. And I think that's cool. Ultimately, though, sorcerer is a B. It's a great class, and it's a fun class. But you are very squishy, and you could probably do other things if you wanted to.
Unless you're a dwarf, in which case you get free armor.
There
Yes.
you go. That's true.
It is. Wizard without the
sorcerers
word.
are broken.
Sorcerers
That's
are
all I'll say.
nutty.
I'm still putting sorcerer in B. I don't know if
B,
everyone
yeah.
else. I know
I think
Matt.
it's fine.
There
I'm
he
okay.
said he agreed, but
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Warlock. Warlock
Broken.
is a class.
Literally the
which
most
is
busted class in this game. Oh
I
my
want
god.
to play next. I think warlocks are sweet. I think like cleric, warlock has a ton of versatility to them for playing what you want to play. I will say where I will disagree a little bit, which I agree S tier for warlock.
Oh, easy
so I'm gonna
game.
throw that out
This
here.
is the most busted class in this game.
I would say where I feel cleric versatility is you can have the different subclasses and do a lot of different things and be decent at all the things. There are definitely superior warlock builds, I feel, that trump out the other ones. Hexblade Warlock being the biggest one that comes to
Hexblade
mind.
is so
But you were just telling us
stupid.
about the genie one where you can shoot things from your magic lamp and stuff.
It is ridiculous. Like the way they've built them is ridiculous.
They are playing a different game, is what they're doing.
I love
They literally
They don't
have
play
to
5e.
limit, like extremely limit the amount of spell slots this class
Yeah.
gets, just because it is so unbelievably.
And even
I
then, they're
love
still just so
roleplay.
strong.
I love the roleplay potential for Warlock too, because you can do so much. Like Prince Safarin is, like a genie, and he's actually, being a genasi. Like he's actually is like his patron's his dad. Eric made the joke you could make a magical girl Warlock because their patron could be the little fuzzy animal creature that gives them their magical powers.
There is a million
Cthulhu
it can
be
be
your freaking
positive,
patron.
it could be negative,
Yeah.
it could be neutral. They could not even know that you're there. Like
Well,
the amount of power that you have in your storytelling with a warlock is so
Up there.
it's so amazing.
I even look at Wesley from our previous campaign. This is Nerdy's first character when he first joined us. He was a celestial warlock, so you're thinking, oh, he's going to be like immensely good. And he had turned it in a way where he was so lawful and so good. He was actually kind of an evil prick at times. And
good
becoming
to
an
a
enemy to the
fault.
party. You can't do that with other class. I mean, you can do that with other classes, but with
do
a
it, but
warlock, it's so easy.
and he was
so
martial too. Like I was running, I could punch at things, and if I die, I freaking just explode, and everybody else is blind, and I'm back up. Like, it's just like you get all the things that you want to get. It's essentially like being a barbarian, but instead of having the bonus action, like, or instead of having the inherent like bulkiness, you get some spells, and you only have to think of a few. And if you find 4 that you like, you just get to use the ones that you like.
Make a statement that I think the Warlock is possibly the easiest of the full. Well, they're a half
They're
caster. I
half-casters.
thought they were full. Would you say they're one of the easier spell casting classes to play?
Yes.
By
For
far.
sure.
Less
I'll
slots,
I'll
less
give
spells.
you 2 words, Ethan. Eldritch
Yes.
Blast.
Eldritch
You
Literally-
don't
Blast.
need to know any.
True.
You don't need to know anything else about Warlock.
And it's a great spell too.
Eldritch
Yeah.
Blast and
I mean,
The
it's
Hex.
fact that it's a
Warlock-
cantrip and its
Yes.
range is as
Yeah.
long as it is.
I
is
mean, people are gonna
bonkers.
shit on Warlock because they're just the Eldritch Blast class, but there's so much more you can do with a Warlock.
Why would you?
Like-
but even if you didn't want to do that, Prince of Varin didn't have
Yeah.
Eldritch Blast. As a
Exactly.
It's
You
very
can
useful.
do so much more with a Warlock than just Eldritch Blast. So much
Mm.
more. People pigeonhole themselves.
And also
With that.
not the invocation. What is it called? The Warlock invocations.
Yeah, invocations.
Invocation. Yeah. Those things. Literally, it's like getting a free feat when you level up. They're just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And it's great. Like,
and they
like,
stack too.
And there's so many great
Exactly.
abilities.
And they're
They stack.
super thematic. That's
Yes.
what's
Yes.
cool about them is they're so well tied.
Yeah.
You
Like-
get like
like
improved
Cleric.
pack weapon that makes your hexblade weapons even better. You can take double attack. You can get Eyes of the Rune
you see
Keeper
through
and
your
just see
chains
things
and stuff
forever.
like-
You can make
Like,
your
I will say,
chains
like
better.
Cleric, there's so many possibilities for Warlocks. You could have 2 Warlocks. We had 2 Warlocks in our party at the start of
And
the
we played
Elise campaign,
very different.
and they were super different. That's how versatile Warlock is. I think
There's-
Warlock is
We
the
had the
highest
Eldritch
tier.
Blast Cannon in support, boy.
I put
It's-
Warlock over
I do.
Barbarian.
I think
I do. I put Warlock over Barbarian.
I think Warlock
love
is the
Barbarian,
most
and I think that
busted
Warlock
class.
is the best class. And like I
so
said,
fun.
yeah, if you have a good DM that's going to work with you, you have an immediate plot hook for anything you need to do.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
you never have to worry about why it's going on.
Patron
a
just
million
says do
different
it,
things
you
to
do it.
And you just
Yeah.
do it.
Because
And-
otherwise you lose your power, and you have to.
Yeah, and it's just like Eldritch Blast with first. Oh, the one thing I wanted to say was Devil Sight
Yes.
is the best thing in the game. You have dark vision that can see through magical darkness. There is
Good.
nothing else in the game that lets you do that, and so much stuff that casts darkness. And just that alone, if you cast darkness and then you're just pew, no one can even do anything to you.
Yep.
And now, granted, you could now they have like you can like unarmed fighting and stuff like that, so darkness wouldn't apply to you. But it's just like, if you cast darkness on someone and then sat 60 feet away and just shot Eldritch Blasts at them with advantage, like, you're gonna kill them.
Warlock also gets
Yeah,
some of the really cool spells. Even though they don't have a lot, they still have some really, really fun ones.
It's like
Like, Dark Blade's
quality
really
over
cool.
quantity.
Yeah, you get a lot
Summon
of really
Greater
fun...
Demon.
Yeah, you get the summoning of various demons. You get Shadow Blade. You get Far Step. Well, that's a 5th level, but you
and
get some fun cantrips. You
you
get Arms of Hadar.
Blink.
can multi-class a warlock with any class, and it'll work. Like, you can multi-class with any class that we've talked about so far, and it will work. Like, it'll help you.
Also, short
taking a
rest spell
2-dip
slots. Literally stupid.
Exactly.
Broken.
Take 2 dip, and then you have Devil Sight. 2 levels, and you can see through magical darkness. Even if you just take it for that,
Yeah.
you are now with 2 spells that you can cast whenever you want, and Eldritch Blast. Should you get yourself in a jam,
Yeah.
you are
On the-
officially the best.
On the DM side too, the pacts, like the whoever you're making your pact with, adds for immediate amazing character and roleplay opportunities and helps expand the world. Like, of all the classes and backstories, Warlock is the one where it's like you're serving up easy to add lore on a silver platter immediately to you, because you can't
Immediate.
not do it because of how your thing is.
Yeah.
I would
have
argue
not
Paladin and
seen
Cleric
one
should be
Warlock.
that way, but a lot of people don't
Actually,
play
yeah,
it that
but-
way.
Exactly. That's what I was
They
saying earlier about
should
Cleric.
have
The
very
reason
tied to
why
the
I'm
world
having
stuff,
Cleric
but
in
they
A
don't.
is
Because people don't
Yeah, it's 'cause-
think about it that way.
Yes,
Yeah.
the guy will agree. The gods and cleric can feel very secondary, which
Even
they
Paladin,
should.
too.
It should be much more like in your
Yeah,
face.
I never
or-
played it that way. I very much played a cleric who's very like in tune and tied with their god, because
It
that's really
depends on-
crucial.
It depends on the person. Like my Death Cleric, I would say is very in tune to his god, but he's very in tune to his order, which worships that god. So everything he's doing is based upon the order. But there's a lot of people that are just like, I'm a cleric and I'm gonna be the hit stuff cleric. And
Sajam, who plays a Vengeance Paladin in Magic Pixel, I don't think his god has even come up.
Yeah,
Like
so
not
it's
even
like,
once.
That's really a DM thing of if they really want to bring the.
Yeah, I mean you can technically overrule it
their
as a
world.
DM if you want to, and not even have clerics have a god. They don't need to have one.
In our current campaign, because there's only 2 deities.
I'm
in
just saying you
Elysium,
don't
I
need
have
to
it
do
set
it,
up.
but you can.
Yeah, I have it set up where clerics more or less worship their devotion of function than an actual god. But that was just a way around because I have a 2 deity
A lot of
system.
deities that have
I didn't
some of the subclasses really
I didn't
fit
want to
very
deal
well.
with 8,000 gods. All right, well, it's getting late here, so let's go ahead and move on because I think we're all in agreement that Warlock is S tier,
So busted.
top
S
S
tier,
tier.
top
Wizard.
tier, freaking best.
Wizard.
I personally like
play
Wizard, but
Wizard.
I know a lot of people don't like
I
Wizard.
know. This is how I feel
I
about-
really, really enjoy Wizard, but you better have played D&D.
You
for
have
a
to
long time.
know
They're
what you're
hard.
doing to play a Wizard. It's an investment, but it's a really fun investment. The fact that you can just technically have every spell in the game available to you is a really
Awesome.
powerful tool.
I
It's
put
not
it
going to
at-
happen,
I
realistically,
put it at
but
B.
it's possible.
B.
Right next to Sorcerer. Like I feel like it is in the same vein of Sorcerer. Is like this is really you're gonna take some time to learn how to do this
Yeah.
correctly. I think that people, again, like we talk about with Bard and Cleric and Paladin, I think people have pigeonholed themselves into the brainy wizard,
Yeah, big brain wizard
And
that
which is why I
researches.
think that it'd be more interesting. Like I said, be a Bard wizard. Be a wizard that is really charismatic and smart and interesting, and it's just like you get all the fun character parts, but you have all this magical.
Well, that's
But
why
and you-
I loved Liam O'Brien's take as Caleb in campaign 2 of A Critical Role, because he's literally like a bum, super tortured soul wizard, which I thought was like that's like so out there. Because immediately you think of wizard, you think of either Bladesinger, which is like the crazy
Gandalf
martial
type
version.
character.
Yeah, Gandalf like character, or like the super brainy, nerdy, like I know it all.
I've
type
studied
character.
the
And he
tomes
was
for
giant
600
owl.
years.
Yeah,
and he was
giant
neither. Yeah, the
owl.
Harry Potter character.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really look at
He's-
wizard and sorcerer as almost like 2 sides of the same coin, where wizard is very mechanically heavy and sorcerer is very thematically heavy. It's like wizard has access to every spell in the game, but if you look through their like stuff and subclasses, like, oh, I'm the illusions wizard, I get like it's cheaper
Yeah.
for me to put illusion spells in my book. It doesn't really do a whole lot.
I mean, the
Sorcerer,
higher level
like-
ones do for the different schools.
Some of them do. Yeah,
Right.
there are different.
Right.
Like
Some of them-
necromancy
some of
makes
them
it so you can just animate dead for free and they don't die after 24 hours.
But sorcerer, I feel like, is dripping with flavor. Like every sorcerer subclass is
Yes.
dripping with flavor
Yes.
and theme, and so it's like sorcerer is like if you want to be a really thematic spellcaster, and wizards if you want to be a very mechanical spellcaster.
And what I tell people is like I think more people should play wizard less like Merlin. Like
Yeah.
Merlin, which you can if you like that, if you
Yeah.
want
What
to
you
be
want?
that
Like the
Gandalf
old man,
person.
big beard
But
wizard.
play wizard more like John Constantine, who is a wizard. Like by definition, like he's also a warlock, sure, because he's like sold this a bunch of times. But like the concept is that he's just a guy who knows a lot of magic and is running around in a trench coat smoking and casting spells. And ooh, I found a scroll. Well, it looks like I know that spell now. Like that's more interesting than
Doctor
just
Strange.
like a Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange
Yeah,
is a
that
wizard,
is a wizard. They
Yeah.
say he's sorcerer supreme,
but he's a
he
wizard.
is a wizard.
By D&D definition, he's a wizard because he
Yeah.
Yeah, he has
researches
to
his
learn all of
spells
his
and
stuff.
goes through the books
Yeah.
and stuff. He
Yep.
is a
Yep.
research
He has
heavy caster.
He has a couple magical items to augment his spellcasting
Yes.
abilities.
It's
So
a time
like
stuff.
Tony Stark is an artificer and Doctor Strange is a wizard, and the
Captain
X-Men
America's
are
a fighter.
sorcerer.
Yeah.
Like the
What's
X-Men are
Captain
they're
America? Is he a
genetic-
fighter then?
He's a fighter, 100%. Either
Yeah,
fighter
yeah.
or
Red
barbarian.
Bear
one
is
of the two.
absolutely a fighter. Hulk's a
Champion
barbarian.
Yeah.
or Battlemaster. I'd say Battlemaster fighter.
Cap.
Cap for
Okay.
Cap, yeah.
He's
If
Spider-Man.
I could give
Hawkeye's
him
a
two.
ranger.
Hawkeye's
Yep.
100% right. Spider-Man, honestly.
Or is he a rogue? Is he a scout rogue?
Ooh, actually, I could see. That's the thing. Is I can see Hawkeye being both ranger
Oh,
or
or
rogue.
he's a fighter.
Maybe a gloom
Spider-Man's
He's
a
an
monk.
arcane. He's
Yeah,
an arcane
Spider-Man's a
archer.
monk.
Spider-Man's a monk.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the wall
Spider-Man's
climbing.
popular.
He's got the speed.
Okay, I'll give
You're
that
gonna
to
have
you.
to do some subclass dipping in another class to get the web
Yes.
slinging. But
Yes,
I'm sure
agree.
Tulok has videos on this for anyone that.
Oh yeah,
that
Tulok
watches
has.
I'm sure he's got all the
I've watched
adventures.
all of them at this
They're
point.
great. He's got some good builds.
Before we
Um,
get too sidetracked here, let's go back to
yes.
Wizard
Yeah,
real
Wizard-
quick, so we don't.
I love Order of Scribes personally. I think Order of Scribes is like the coolest wizard subclass they've ever come out
I think
with.
Blade Singer is really
But
a cool wizard.
Blade Singing is
subclass,
also
too.
really cool.
But it's so not wizard. Like,
Yeah, that's the thing
It is-
too.
it
It's
is
also
a
not
wizard- it's
it
not
is
wizard
literally
subclass.
not wizard, but it's also really hard
It's
to
for
kill.
everyone who wants to play a wizard and not be a wizard is what Blade Singer.
Yes. I
But I
like.
find a lot of the other subclasses to be kind of dull.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, they're
Underwhelming.
just like, oh, I'm the.
Yeah.
Like I said, all the base ones from the player handbook
All the
don't
different
really
schools
do
of
Oh yeah,
magic.
no, they're not.
a whole
great.
lot. It's like you get the ability to put those type of spells in your book quicker. Some of them do some other little cool stuff too, but
I
it's
think Evocation
very-
is considered to be like
the
a
wizard's
ridiculous one.
wizard's
That's actually very
strength and the
powerful.
interest of the wizard comes from the fact that you can get like every spell in the
Mhm.
game and put them in your
Mhm.
spell book and seek them out.
I will say that the new one that just came out, the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, the Time Wizard.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the
That's-
Chromes.
Dunamancy? The Dunamancy
Yeah,
Oh,
wizard?
Dunamancy one. Yeah,
Yes.
that was really good.
You get to add your intelligence to your initiative roll. You can like
Because Dunamancy is not only time, it's also gravity. So there's some spells in there where you get to like, basically make a black hole.
I will
It's
say too,
really
I think the
cool.
divination wizard is really
Divination's really
badass
powerful.
with their potency or portency or whatever it's called
Yeah.
ability.
I will say that it's
So
it's
you
still a
just
beat to
re-roll
play.
dice for people.
As a DM, I think wizards are some of your most like really interesting way to make the world interesting. The more
Yeah.
wizard you have, like because you could like do things with wizards NPCs that other things couldn't be able to do. So I say to B tier to play, you're probably gonna there are better things to do with your time. But it is a very, very good class
Also
if you wanna
easily have some of the best spell options in the game.
yes.
Yeah.
And the
Do we
widest
think
range.
do we think sorcerer is above wizard? Because I'm fine where wizard is in B.
I
and I would
personally
keep
think
him
Wizard
above-
is better on the mechanical standpoint. And if we're going off
The
pure
learning curve.
mechanics,
I-
like,
that's
it's
where
harder
I'm
to
at.
play,
Wizard is
but
better,
it's
in my
a little
opinion,
bit
mechanically.
stronger. That's the thing.
I'm gonna say sorcerer is better. A lot like the things that you can do with meta magic is really
It's
kind of
actually really
great
broken.
broken.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can
You
do
know
a
what
lot
I
of
mean?
cool stuff with meta magic.
If I put a level 20 wizard versus that's what I'm thinking, right? The best a sorcerer can be versus the best a wizard can be. Subtle, quickened. Well, you can't do subtle and quickened, but subtle power word kill where they don't even know that they're supposed to be like fighting it or something. You know what I mean? I don't even know if you can do power word kill subtle, but like the concept
don't
is
either.
like you could do a lot of these spells when no one even knows you're doing them. You know
also
what I
really
mean?
help
Which
your
in
party out by
wizard,
giving them like advantage and
you
stuff.
can't do that.
I do
even
feel like though the
just
wizard
subtle.
having every like access to so many spells
Yeah,
if
I
they
think
can find them and give
Level
them back.
20 wizard is probably the most powerful thing in the game because you have access to everything.
like
so
everything.
Everything.
As bad as it is, I almost feel. I know I said earlier I feel like the sorcerer is a worse wizard, which I guess mechanically I still feel that way a little bit. But I almost, if I could rank them, I'd rank them on top of each other. Like I can't really decide which one I like better because if I want theme and lore and role playing, I'm gonna play sorcerer. If I want mechanics and more
And
spells and my
stuff.
I'm gonna play a wizard. And honestly, really looking at it, I probably would pick here I'm gonna bite my own tongue, but I probably would play a sorcerer because I'm more into the role playing
I
aspect.
think
than the,
it's nature
mechanics
versus
aspect.
nurture with wizard versus sorcerer. I feel like it literally is like
Absolutely.
I want to play a character that has learned a bunch of shit, like and has a lot of access to a bunch of random stuff, and I want to play a character that is like born into some sort of magical greatness, and then you just have to figure out what story you want to tell. I think you have more interesting built-in options with sorcerer, while as with wizard you have to do a lot of like extra legwork to make yourself interesting.
Wizard
And
works really.
So
Go ahead, finish up.
that's it. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, wizard for me, I think works really well if you're like hyper creative and you like Eric, your example with Liam O'Brien with Caleb, crazy creative, a different take on the wizard that you're not used to seeing, does a great job with it. Sorcerer gives you like I'm gonna call it a crutch, but I don't mean it in a negative way. Sorcerer gives you the leg up
It gives
to
you the
help build
boost
that stuff.
to get into
Where
it.
wizard,
You have to
wizard
have the
is-
idea for the wizard.
you can do anything with wizard, which to some people is a bonus because I can go anywhere. Where sorcerer might restrain you a little bit, but for some people, sorcerer gives you that extra bone to build out your backstory and your character. They feel really equal to me.
Yes.
I'll put them in the same spot. That's fine.
Yep,
Works
same
for me.
spot.
All right, I'll leave
that's
them. I'm
fine.
fine. Just
I think
under
that's
my
fine.
state, but I think they're about the same.
They're pretty equal.
All right, so there is our tier list. I actually am pretty happy with this minus monk, but
Yeah, well,
I
you're
probably
wrong
would.
on most.
I will give you. I won't put him in the D, but I don't think he's an A. I'd probably say he's a B or at least under fighter.
I'd put,
but
if I
that's-
was allowed to, I'd put Monk at S.
Honestly, same. I would genuinely have it like this.
I can't.
Monk right underneath Warlock, because Monk is the second most busted class in this game next to Warlock. Hands down.
I disagree. It is great where it's at. It's in A. It's the two best classes in the game are Barbarian and Warlock without question. And I think that Rangers should be lower than they are, but that's just what
I
Yeah,
think Cleric
that's
should be one higher and be at the bottom of. Actually, I'd put Cleric over Barbarian, but that's more of a personal opinion. Again, objectively, I'm okay with
That's the
Cleric.
thing,
is,
too,
'cause
with
I do
this is-
realize it's a tough
nothing is
position.
wrong. None of these spaces are wrong.
No.
They are. that's
Nothing
what
is
we're
wrong
doing.
and
what
nothing
you
is
want.
right. That's the thing.
Yes.
Except for
Yeah,
Warlock.
it's all
Warlock is right
subjective.
because Warlock is the most busted class in this
Warlock
game. hands
is
down.
right.
Just mechanically,
There's
it's the
some
most broken.
people I know there's some people out there who hate Warlock too. They
Yeah.
don't like them at all.
We call
But I
those
feel
I
like-
mean, in
people
terms of like
terror.
spellcasting power, you're better picking like a sorcerer
Or a wizard. Right,
like in
hands
terms
down,
of
yeah.
pure like sorcerer power. But like in terms of just the flavor and the fun, yeah, Warlock
You
is
know,
awesome.
And Hexblade is
I
literally
mean, played
like,
one and I
the
won.
stupidest martial class.
Honestly, Paladin I didn't expect to be ranked the lowest of everything. Even though I don't disagree, it's a bit of a surprise for me.
Nobody likes paladins.
I
As
love
bad as
Paladin. Paladin's my
As bad
favorite
as it
class.
is re-looking at this, I would probably rank the Druid lower than Paladin, but I also don't care for the Druid class either. It's probably the class I want to play the least.
I think Druid just has
Yeah.
its own problems.
All right, gentlemen.
As
We did
one
it.
final note, if you've never heard of this, there's a wonderful little build that boosts both Sorcerer and Warlock called Coffee Lock, in which you take a couple levels into Warlock, you rest into Sorcerer, and because you get your spell slots back as a Warlock on short rest, one of the wonderful Warlock abilities is you can spend your spell slots to regain other classes' spell slots. So every short rest, you get back your Sorcerer spell slots instead of your Warlock ones, and never need to take a long rest for the rest of your life and just chug that coffee like a madman.
There you
I
go.
love it.
Coffee lock.
It's one of the
Coffee
funniest and
love.
most interesting Sorcerer builds out there.
Well,
really
this is
fun.
a later stream. Hopefully, we will be back next week with the actual
Yeah,
D&D stream, and we will be continuing on the adventures in
Also,
Elysia.
Blood Hunter goes nowhere because none of us have any opinions on it.
Yeah, no one's played Blood Hunter.
just-
Put it in S, super S.
I'm
because
putting
it's
it in
bad
F and putting it as no opinion
Love it.
because we don't have one. I mean, I've heard things about it, but I can't speak on if it's actually good or not because I don't think I know anyone that's played it, and I've never played it, and I don't really have any interest in playing it.
I read
Look
it.
at
It
old
looked
Dusty
cool.
Trail.
It
But,
seems
yeah.
very good, but
All
I'm
right,
out of here,
friends.
fellas.
but yes.
Yeah, everyone have a
care.
good night. It's late. I gotta go to bed.
Peace out.
Woo. Alright, some final little cleanup stuff. Because that's what we do around here. We do a little bit of cleanup at the end here. I don't think there's any notifications at all, which is pretty nice, but I will be continuing. I didn't actually mention it at the beginning this time. A little sidetracked, a little too much for that, I think. But we will be continuing Fire Emblem 6 for... Where are we in that game? We're like halfway-ish, I think. Almost at halfway? Yeah, chapter 12 out of like 26. So we'll probably end up getting another like 2 or 3 of them done. This is kind of the pace we seem to be setting for it. We'll continue that tomorrow, normal time. As always, the VODs go up the next day, 12 p.m. EST. Thank you all for stopping by. Until next time.